would say for team start a fight, just because they didn't get their usual looting path. Particularly, you would be able to get No Name that's outside of Fragment East. That's how start a fight like to go. It's very greedy. They get No Name, they get Geyser, and they get that No Name above Lava Siphon. But it looks like Aves had to go straight into the tunnel. Might not have been able to pick up that beacon scan for themselves. No, it looks like he actually was, surprisingly enough, despite having a team there. So they are looking pretty. They should be able to loot up and get inside. Matt Pickett himself is actually picking up that Watson. So this is a composition that can work extremely well. This is a composition that, came out early on. Well, without the Valkyrie, of course, but having the Watson to set up early. Maybe your economy isn't the strongest. Maybe you don't have the most cells and bats, but that's okay because you've got that interception pylon that'll let you heal up and trade with teams to get your Evo shields.
Yeah, and you should also be thinking that Geyser doesn't have the best loot. It's not the greatest POI in the game. So having someone like Watson, like you said, is going to be, paying pretty good dividends for them. But you have to give credit to Matt Pickett for really the ballsy play to land over there by himself when he is playing a character without mobility and without an escape. So he's going to have to kind of show presence, lay down early fences, and hopefully fend off Team Nerf. I don't think Team Nerf's going to be interested in taking that early of a fight, but it is the open night, right? So you kind of think about what would TSM do in this situation. TSM wouldn't set up inside of an early building and kind of camp it out. They'd be playing in an area where they expect high traffic and going for kill points.
Oh, it looks like Team Tyson were trying to go for that beacon scan, but ended up getting interrupted by the team that was coming out from Countdown now. Z Davis and Tyson, the rest of Tyson, about to take that rooftop and maintain control. Now, this could have been just a rotation path coming out from that Countdown team to try and get the beacon themselves, but it looks like it might just be a full commit from either side. Joey not even getting the opportunity to answer back. Now, we do have Undialed Tom.
I jinxed him, man.
Already going down first. You absolutely did. This is all your fault.
I'm so sorry, guys. That is completely my fault. Miles with the snipe, the longbow, I believe, onto Oxy. So he's going to go and heal up. I like the bubble res coming in from Joey. You don't want to go and not use your bubble in that type of situation. You don't know if there's going to be any type of Valkyrie, missile barrage, something along those lines. But I like the plays from Z Davis, understanding the situation of, hey, you got to close that door. There it is. All right, so you need to close the door for a couple of reasons. One, you don't want anybody to get any angles on top of the gen, but also your teammate is still healing, so you need to be aware of that. Nothing's worse than a teammate that doesn't know how to use the doors in Apex or ends up griefing those. But look at what Razor's doing. They're playing a little bit of an aggressive composition. Look at the Valkyrie heirloom is just so sick. You love to go and see that one coming through for Gizzard Macintosh. What kind of name is that?
I have no idea. It sounds like an alien was trying to, disguise himself as a human, and this was the name they came up with. But for Team Razor right now, they're running kind of an alien composition. They do have the Seer along with the Horizon and the Valkyrie. So yeah, they do have some scanning ability, right? That heartbeat sensor can be helpful when you're trying to push into buildings. Speaking of pushing into buildings, Oxygen make their way into the north side of Lava Siphon. They're expecting this ring to be pulling basically towards these buildings here, and in particular towards that north side bridge. We see a lot of endings in that area. For now, Oxygen plant themselves in a building that has some decent sight lines around them. I'll be able to maybe get some pot shots in, but here's Team Razor turning the aggression now onto a team outside of Fragment West. They're chasing them down to that connecting area, down to Harvester. Arcstar in for nades. He gets a connect, and now he's going to slide on in. And it looks like they were able to back away from this one, as they're going to continue to get chase. But yeah, it had to be a Wraith. Maybe even, no, I didn't see actually the phase breach coming out, so it had to be a Wraith. A Wraith.
Yeah, really nice play from nades with the nades there, and our alien imposter putting in some serious damage. 114 there with the R301 across the map was pretty sexy, to be honest. We didn't get a chance to see the entire tracking, but at that type of range, to be able to put that type of damage down, I didn't get a chance to see what type of mag that he had, but no mag or even a purple mag, that is really nice shots to go get that team out of there, using abilities, forcing them down into the area. Got to be a little bit careful, because that is typically when a lot of the fights will take place, and then teams will start rotating in. And one team that is kind of in the area is going to be Intel, but they aren't going that way. They're actually going the opposite side over towards the Overlook area, and Fearless gets rewarded with a gold bag, which he's eventually going to toss on over to Mooney because he's rocking the Gibraltar. It's going to be a lot more valuable on the Gibraltar players. So now he's just trying to get back on over towards his squad. While he's doing that, the cover fire is happening. Tyson's been one of our more active teams today so far in terms of our partner teams. This is the second engagement they find themselves in.
Yeah, they are not getting a free rotation. This is round 1 closing right now, and they have a team outside. 2 people peeking over to Oxy Aries, taking him out instantly. Z Davis is not on a character that really wants to try and take a 1v2 there. Joey Blackout was completely out of position. Doesn't have his bubble for another 15 seconds now. Z Davis gonna have to back away from this one. It's gonna be difficult to try and go back up to pick Oxy Aries up unless he can actually slide on down. Maybe there's a chance for them to pick up his banner eventually, but what an unfortunate situation for Team Tyson to be placed into.
Yeah, but you're playing against Fat Fruit Ninja, who is one of those players, again, that has been in Series Z in the past. This is going to be FRC. And instead of going and chasing the enemy team because they understand this team is smart, we've already taken down 1 player, they may allow them to even get the banner, but it's kind of a cat and mouse game right here. I think that it's a little bit of respect from both of these teams where it's like, okay, they're most likely going to either completely run from this, or we're going to double back and kind of keep eyes on it to see what they're thinking. And FRC backs off mainly to make sure there's no third party coming through, and then they're going to camp the banner based on the respect that they have. Impulse with some really nice wingman shots. That's going to be the 2x, takes that player down to no shields. But you can see the defensive bombardment comes in, and it's not very valuable because of the fact that you do have that mountain ledge. But I love the play for Fearless. Tosses the black hole on over towards the side and pushes the bubble.
Complete zoning kept him contained inside of that bubble the entire time, and they get that first knock. Beautiful play coming out from Team Intel. This is a squad that you don't want to get started early on, catching up that momentum. Fearless has to be careful, but hey,
nice
take
bubble.
a look at the arm coming out from Mooney. He gets the outside there, so he will have that extra coverage. The gold bag, like you said, getting handed off to Mooney from James Fearless, coming in clutch, but the Arc Stars are here. The re-knock shouldn't come through. It should be relatively safe as they use that grav lift to get back up that hill. James Fearless surviving that onslaught. Intel end up picking up 1 kill throughout that fight. We'll see if they continue.
And Fearless understands the situation. They have the gold bag, so the fact that he tossed that one off in time is so crucial, right? If they would have wasted that and didn't take the opportunity when they had the extra seconds to do that swap, they'd be dead right now, and they'd be losing out on Fearless and figuring out how they can respawn him back into the game. But instead, they continue to get that loot that they got rewarded with for the kill. But spot on, Jamerson. The zoning potential there with Horizon is so strong. Fearless played that fairly well up into the point where he got knocked. And then the presence of mind to leave the bubble down and not go for the bubble res because there was a little bit of that bubble exposed is just a really smart play from Intel, and you could see why they've been so successful in Series E.
Take a look at Team Exaggerin. They ended up getting a vault there, and very much rewarded for it. For FRC, though, after they picked up that 1 kill, they're, of course, taking their usual pit stop, or most teams like to take this pit stop over at Harvester. Using the replicators, they'll get themselves the purple armors, hopefully in time. They've got plenty of time, actually, to work with here. So Relay picks that one up. The rest of the squad will get going as well. As this ring continues to pull on over towards that north side lava siphon, let's go ahead and check in with the ring if we get the opportunity.
Fat Fruit Ninja and their squad has been over towards the Harvester side. Remember that they were able to take down one of the members from, I believe that was Z Davis's squad. And which player was taken down there, Jamerson? I can't remember.
Oxy, I believe.
Oxy, okay. Boomer memory over here. But I like the fact that they've kind of stayed in the vicinity. And that's just kind of, again, when you're rocking a meta that has Valkyrie, a lot of the teams are rocking even double rotations like D-Res right here. I like the fact that they are kind of sticking around there and have options to go and get kills, because we talk about the open night and the importance of going and picking up those kill points. A team like OXG, they always play the long game, right? They got into the zone fairly early. Kubsky, there's a reason why he was so successful on his previous squad, which was FW. So I really like the way that they're able to kind of just continue and play their style, even though it is the open day and they want to go and pick up kills. They've kind of always honed in on playing the end zone. But this is one of those areas that Intel is looking for the chokes. They're looking for areas where teams are going to go and rotate through. They're trying to pick fights.
Yeah, we do have a hard pull as well. So Team Intel are safe here for roughly the next 4 minutes or so. And it seems they've actually made contact with another squad. Gold armor on the other side is James Fearless. That flatline meta getting some decent damage off. It's going to be Excedrin on the other side of this one right now. Flatline v flatline. Both sides are just going to go ahead and stabilize here and look for a fight. But we saw how good Team Intel were with that combination, getting them stuck inside. Now we'll see if they do have the black hole. Fearless does. If he wants to try and grapple, get them all contained into one. A missile storm comes in, forcing them back at least. And this is all just footsies being played by either side. They understand that. I think they have a good feel for what the aim is like on the other side. Here comes that black hole, but Fearless is able to back away, and it's all about the abilities here, about being able to utilize them expertly, and they're just dodging them. Team Intel kiting away from these fights. Now they've got all of the cooldowns to utilize for this fight.
So Intel's backing off for a couple reasons. I don't think the reason is that they're showing respect to this enemy team. They're showing respect to the rest of the lobby, right? There's a charge rifle coming in around the corner. Once the defensive bombardment comes down in that type of situation, it's just a giant flare into the air that says, hey, come third party this. So Intel realized, okay, we didn't get that initial knock. You saw a lot of damage coming in. I believe that was Fearless with the initial damage onto that player. But they have the superior weapon combo to go and fight, right? Because of the fact that the 30-30 is going to be better than the longbow in these situations. Yes, the longbow is going to rip. Don't get me wrong. But having a flatline wingman, I feel like is that great medium, even close range type of fight that Intel is going to have the advantage for. But long story short, they're worried about getting third-partied, and they're just not interested in taking that fight anymore.
Yeah, you can see the shots even ripping through all the way from Lava Siphon. For Oxygen, though, the hard ring pull up towards that northern side. Makes them really consider whether or not they want to be here. It looks like we have a Mad Maggie sighting as well. Absolutely love to see it. You can see how good it can be if you want to try and push buildings with it. See, though, if teams can utilize it to full effect. They do have a Kraber here, though, for Team Oxygen. And it looks like a few shots were rung out, but not too much damage was done with it. But all he needs is one more to get that purple and line it up real quickly here and get that for himself. But it's all about posturing once again for Team Oxygen. Like you said, they don't like to run too many risks. There we go. He gets the body shot and gets himself that purple armor.
That's key. You know, that's really all he's looking for. Even if you do get a knock here, Jamerson, you're not going to be able to collapse on this, right? You have to just kind of show respect and be like, all right, well, you know, we could potentially make a portal play, but you look down there and you see, oh, well, we're at 31%, so you can't really go and do that. A lot of different options here for OXG in terms of what they can do with the Kraber, but it's mainly like you were talking about, charging that Evo armor up. It may even be time to, you know, drop that blue armor if you're protectful, right? Get that purple from Pop Rock Sam and say, hey, can you charge us up pretty please? Thanks, my guy.
Yeah, all you need is one good headshot there, but Team Intelligence, hold on. They don't have a headshot. They don't have armor as well as they tried to back away over here at the Geyser side. It's going to be Reg actually pushing into them for now. Over this building, a defensive bombardment has been utilized as well, but either side looking to get away trap free. No, Intelligence ends up losing out on one. A third-party charge rifle from long range distance ends up taking him out. We'll see if Reg want to try and follow up. They should have been able to hear the knock just outside, but for the time being, they're happy inside of their building while the zone finishes up closing.
Yeah, and you also feel really good about having this gold helmet too, because if you do need to toss that Nox gas grenade down, it's going to come back a lot faster than without it. Now, you see the entire team camping down below you. We have the player outlines. Excuse me, we have the player outlines. They don't. An opportunity to potentially collapse on this squad. You don't really think that there's going to be many teams in the vicinity. Zone pull is over where we predicted, Jamerson, so it's not going to go really far away from this area where OXG is, and they've done a masterful job of predicting this area. Unfortunately, not able to connect with that. Look at this. Here comes the charge. Now they're getting aggressive. They understand they need loot. Only one battery. You're definitely going to want a little bit more than that. And here goes the bubble fighting going in their favor. They take down Team Tyson. Again, just a two-man squad. They lost Oxy Aries a little bit earlier, as you mentioned, and now SAF is moving in. Little vultures, little rats coming through. It's going to be Aves stealing some loot and running back to his team.
Importantly, I believe just before this team started a fight, ended up taking out Team Razor. Need to check in on that, but we are down to 14 squads. There was a flurry of kills in that last round closing, but team start a fight right now. They've got maintained control over Grandma's house. They had the priority on this rotate. Matt Pickett was basically already up here, and basically setting up along all these fence lines for his squads. Here's Spectre Esports making a push right now as this squad is absolutely in shambles. That's going to be DSO losing out on 2. Only 1 more remaining. Spectre Esports pick up the +3, but I know that they have a few more kills on top of that. But here's Team Intel looking for the third party, applying the pressure now. The missile swarm coming in. There should be armor swaps for them. Nade out from Fearless, doesn't get a connect, and so Team Intel, they try to go fishing, but they'll just go ahead and back away. They don't want to get caught in this scramble. When this zone pulls down towards this hill, it becomes so incredibly hard to rotate out. They know that, and so they're going to move first instead of trying to just full commit onto that fight. And I think that is the better choice here. As you can see, the amount of teams in the area. Team Excedrin, though, on the bridge side of Lava Siphon, they got themselves a pull down. Ooh, Fearless ends up going down for Team Intel here. See if they can fight back. So they've got rooftop control. They got the knock onto one, or at least looks like one fell. The Mooney will fall next. That Nox gas grenade doing so much work for that squad. And now Impulse is the only one alive. Mooney getting thirsted as Impulse now getting naded out of his building, gets his battery off in time, but you can see he is stuck as he tries to go for a cheeky peek there, getting poked by every angle, and he will go down. That's going to be someone Sinus Leda picking that one up.
I think Intel's going to tighten up after this. They were just kind of testing the lobby, very kind of ego challenge down that ramp. I think that they understood, hey, this is open day. A majority of the time, we're going to have a lot of open space. Well, guess what? This has been a very well-played open day so far. I think that a lot of these teams understand exactly how to play this one. They predicted the zone fairly early, and Intel was pleasantly surprised to see that they couldn't get away with that play, especially when they had the Valkyrie Skyward Dive. Jamerson, I think next time they're going to utilize that one, try to find some sort of bubble play, maybe bubble Skyward Dive, and then make their play going forward. So I'm expecting Intel to bounce back and make some major adjustments. Meanwhile, Excedrin, like you said, looking pretty strong over here, taking down Kubsky and Protectful, playing the outside of this building that they were on and locking down the roof area. Now an extra team comes around, so you got 3 teams over here.
Oh, 105 from Kimchi Lee, though, as he backs away onto that Valkyrie. Cruisin goes for a peek himself, but they are getting poked from across the ways now. Wraith Portal out. Zaws gets the knock onto Kimchi Lee. Cruisin and Urban need to show up here to try and help him out, as there you can see an instant there's coming out. 13 seconds for the zone to close as well, and in either side really have cleared a path to make their way across. I believe there might be a Wraith Portal out, though. The Gravlet has been used by Saws, and now it's just Urban left, as looks like Saws might just be the absolute bane. He gets the 3K against them now, and now someone Sinus here on the north side trying to hold down the respawn building, as that team that ended up taking out Team Intel finally forced to poke on out, but someone Sinus to be able to hold this line.
I really like these type of names, right? Someone Sinus, Need Org, all the stuff that says, you know what, we don't have anybody yet. I'm all about it. They're serious about it. They're setting up into the final zone. Jamerson, out of all the teams, they predicted exactly where this one was going to go, right? You had a team like OXG thinking this was going to pull more over towards Lava Siphon. Well, we had a feeling it was going to go over towards this no-name area. And this is one of the more popular buildings and endings next to the one that is the double building kind of set up where you can see SAF is. Now, SAF, remember, they were one of the teams that lands over towards Geyser, so they've done a masterful job of kind of rotating on over there, picking up kills and setting up. Holy cats, Cradle. Matt Pickett looks like he's played Watson before.
Yeah, we have to remember, they came out of Geyser. They came out of their looting path with blues, but here they are, triple reds, as Matt Pickett dishing out some decent damage there, forcing them back, as I don't know how much value they might actually be getting off of trying to pressure this squad. I can understand maybe trying to get the kill points, but right now they have to be careful. They are the kings of the hills. They are holding down this high ground, but we know that there are multiple teams still around. The biggest trouble is going to be maybe a Horizon team using that gravity lift to take that height from behind them, but looks like their defensive posture is still pretty good over here. I don't think we have a Horizon on the other side of this one, so all they have to do, honestly, is listen for the Valk sound cues from down there.
And look at how fast that Watson gen starts charging up your shields compared to the Watson generator rolled, and you can see why Watson has been a little bit more popular in the meta recently, especially with a little bit of the minor nerfs that have happened. Caustic, holy Pickett with the shots. Now you can, a gold bag though is absolutely huge here for LNW, but a lot of teams in the vicinity. You can see the caustic barrels being popped, and now Pickett's going to take on over towards the high ground. They've been bullying a lot of these teams, Jamerson, focusing a handful of different areas, and this is kind of what the open night's all about, right? Like you said, you got to be a little bit careful, but you also want to test the waters to see what you can really get away with. Now, the enemy defensive bombardment comes through. That Watson generator is going to eat a lot of that, almost in the entire thing. Nice job from them. This is what they're worried about, though. They have to focus this team that's going to land. They're trying to go out of bounds, but most likely they're just going to have to take the roof of the building, and that's exactly what they do.
And it's just free fire for Aves as he gets the knock onto Sushi. One more will fall. FRC has been knocked out. We're down to our final 4 squads, and now Aves takes this opportunity to take the rooftop, realizing no one is here to challenge for it. Still has to watch his back just in case, and he does spot out Locks, trying to walk this one in, having some difficulty with those shots, but it's okay. Dropping down now with that Massive as he backs away once again, allowing the other teams to finish each other off at this point. But it's all start a fight, picking up kills left and right as he drops down. Aves now going into the bubble. You can see how safe start a fight is. Are they going to allow this team to go for that reset? It's the final 3v3. Doesn't matter. Aves is in their face right now and start a fight once again. Start the week with a win.
Start a fight is no joke. These players have been here before. You love watching them play, the way that they are aggressive, but the entire time they had what they were going to do in store, right? They were like, all right, we land over towards Geyser. We're going to slowly push up over here. Not only that, Jamerson, you don't think that a team that is setting up for end zone would pick up that many kills. They were able to do so, but kind of the micromanaging that they did of all the teams left in that final zone, I thought was the most impressive part of that game.
And this was really came down to a lot of experience. We talked about running that Watson composition that even if you don't have the best of armors, as long as you put yourself in a good spot to be able to farm up, you're going to be able to trade well with it and utilize that. We did see, of course, Team Intel taking a good number of fights. This was the one that we saw. This one, I believe, only resulted in 1 kill, but it was still a nice fight regardless for them as they picked that one up. You can see James Fearless tries to chase after them. They might have gotten a second one. No, it gets stolen from Vizio there, but ultimately they got what they needed, and we saw how Team Intel now is really learning to kind of temper their aggression. Here's Oxygen making a desperation push that they needed, like you said, rotating early on. That's what Oxygen like to do, but oftentimes you find yourself kind of missing out on loot.
You do miss out on loot, and you miss out on kill opportunities on our open night, but one thing's for sure, a lot of our open teams came to play today, and I'm really excited to see mainly what a team, like Start a Fight's able to do, a lot of these squads, but also Intel touched base on them, especially because we got a chance to see their highlights over towards the first part of that. I really feel like they were just kind of getting an idea of how this is going to go. They were expecting that building to kind of be free. And a lot of times when you're playing at a high level like that, you think that everything is free, right? The players are free, the team fights are free, you can just do whatever you want. Well, once you kind of, get outside of that top 10, you are facing a situation where you didn't have the performance that you wanted. They're going to go back and look at that one and be like, yeah, we probably should have redeployed and used our Valkyrie ultimate there. The thing is if they were to even utilize that, would they have gotten into the zone, or would they have just gave a team like Start a Fight extra kills, because it seemed like a lot of real estate was taken already.
Yeah, we know how deadly that slide down from that connector area down to the no-name can be. So many times, time and again, teams that make that rotation on foot end up just dying. That's history repeating itself overall. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and send it on over to Yeso to break down the action from game number 1. And when we get back, we'll have game number 2 of Series E for Tyson Week right after this.
Really fun way to kick off open night there with Start a Fight grabbing the win in our first game of the day. Actually, interestingly enough, a team that I got a really good look at last Friday night, where they were duking it out with teams like CLG, Renegades, and others. And this is a team that, when they get rolling, can be really good. They struggled last Friday to finish a lot of games. They didn't get a win in the 6 games that they played on that night, but they were fragging fairly consistently and getting into those top 5, top 7 situations, and they did a really good job here. Important to note, they've got Rolders subbing in here for Rack and Nishu, and of course Rolders has history with these players, especially when you look back to Season 2 of Series E, when Rolders was playing alongside Aves on that Season 2 Applejacks roster. But the squad looking really good here, and I loved getting to get a really nice look at the way they were playing that late circle, because they're fighting on multiple fronts, right? You've got one team down below you in the canyon, multiple squads posturing in and around the building and out kind of exposed a little bit behind that rock. Really just a good job of SAF kind of keeping multiple teams at bay, continuing to put out damage where they could, and ensure that nobody could really feel confident to go for a push on, SAF being kind of the one team in the most exposed area of that late circle. And I really just love seeing Aves use that high ground well on the Valkyrie, right? Getting up on top of the rock during the defensive bombardment, playing up on top of that building, as well as like multiple teams are coming to try and get out and get towards the center of the circle. Aves is using that high ground super well to just deal damage, stay out of line of sight of a lot of these players, and get a lot of work done. And that's a hell of a game there from SAF. Look at everybody up over 2,700 damage. Rolders, of course, leading the way with 3,142. They also pick up 11 kills in the game, so that's a 23-point performance there for SAF. That's a hell of a showing from SAF to kick off the night here, and quite a statement here to kick off the 6 games that we'll have here today. So really well played from them. Let's take a look, though, at that end game once again with our Mobile One high performance moment, our first one here of the day. We'll pull this one out for you, and you're just going to get, again, another look here at Aves with this Valkyrie using the high ground to his advantage, right? Posturing up on the rock, getting shots on these players over on the south side of the building, then gets on top here of the roof. And the problem is like, as much as these players maybe want to get a shot here, they're having to deal with the other team on the other side of the building, and then you have Pickett and Rolders that can fire up from above. So really, Aves so confident and so safe to just continue to fire away with the flatline and the Mastiff here, and even jumps into the bubble by himself. That's how confident Aves was playing in that late circle. So just really, really well done from the team here, and they just really weren't missing, period. They were hitting just about all of their shots, thriving in the chaos of that late circle, and it's a big reason why they grabbed the win here in our first game of the day. So congrats there to SAF, and we'll have to see who can close the gap on our first Mobile One leaderboard. We'll check that out when we go back to Jamerson and T-Squared after a short break.
I'll be loading up, they wanna package this. Pray for peace, pacifist, I'm never old enough to give a
Welcome back to Series E. Just before the break, it was Team Start a Fight that ended up with the win in game number 1. They had 11 kills overall, took the plus 12, and have 23 points on the board. But how did the rest of our teams fare? Let's go ahead and check in with the Mobile 1 leaderboard to see where they stand. It was Spectre Esports. Now we're getting into a lot of fights there. Ended up with 17 points, and someone signed us with 12, putting them in 2nd and 3rd place respectively.
Well, if your name starts with an S, you're looking pretty good, right? Every single team that starts with an S is in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. Good job by them. But I guess some surprising stuff, and probably the most surprising stuff, would be Nerf. Jamerson, where does Nerf land?
Yeah, Nerf has absolutely no points whatsoever coming out from Lava Siphon. Absolutely strange turn of events there.
That's not good, right? I mean, this is a team that is extremely talented. We know how good they are. I don't want to be too hard on them because it was just one game, and that's definitely not the vibe we're going for here at Series E, but it's just surprising, right? I mean, this is a team that you expect a lot from, and when you land over towards the zone where it's going to end, you expect big things from Nerf, 20-point games from them, but so Start a Fight almost took that away from them. I don't know how Nerf ended up getting taken down, but it seems like a lot of those points that could have been Nerf's ended up going over to SAF.
Yeah, it seems like might have felt a little bit weird for Team Nerf, right? Because time in and time out, day in, day out, they ended up getting usually challenged over there by Lava Siphon. This was one of those first few games where they don't, and maybe they kind of they don't have a usual rotation path for when we don't get landed on or something, like they have their usual game plan for when they have the 50-50, but they don't have a game plan for when they have it absolutely free. But here we go. Going into game number 2, let's join on board with Team Start a Fight. We got to highlight them early on as well in the last game. So we talked about their looting path. Aves will be going for that no name. It looks like the beacon is going to be there, so he's going to instantly pop that one, keeping an eye on the skies to try and sneak that one away, and then maybe, if he gets the opportunity, to try and get some loot here. But it seems like it's going uncontested for him.
I wonder where that other team decided that they wanted to go. I mean, that's kind of weird, right? That you take that spot to begin with and then you end up switching it up. But when we take a look at the zone, if we could see the map, that would be awesome because you could see that they are kind of in where that next zone is going to be. So that's pretty big for them. And Tyson, they switched their landing spot, right? I'm not crazy. I'm pretty sure that they were over towards Skyhook, and now they're in Fragment. They get a knock with the triple take. Oxy Aries, he's pissed. He was one of the first people to go down in the previous game. He doesn't even want to open the door for his teammates. That's how mad he is.
Yeah, they were Skyhook East, and maybe they just weren't comfortable with the teams that were around Countdown over there. But for them to be able to take Fragment West is going to make it much more easier for them to rotate, but maybe not so, as they are still found inside of this engagement. Taking a look at the ring, though, this one is pulling over towards Geyser, and yeah, SAF are already set up here. Again, for a Watson composition to be able to set up early on, have the building of their choice, and whatever loot that they pick up along the way, looks like it's going to be blue armors for them, unfortunately. But we saw what they were able to do in game number 1 off the back of that Watson, utilizing that interception pylon, utilizing the natty gen off of it to trade effectively.
My boomer memory tells me that this is the very back end of Geyser, right? You can see that it's being gobbled up by a majority of that mountain.
Oh, no.
Now, ending spots that are back on over there are going to be kind of where the respawn beacon is. There's one where the building is in the very backhand side, and there's one that kind of enters the front of that. Look at the shots, the tracking from Mooney. Fearless also just bowing people in the face. Zero respect for the lobby. You love to see it. This is what you expect from Team Intel. Kind of unorthodox missed shots there, but it doesn't matter. Team Razor, they go out as your second squad eliminated. That's a tough situation because Intel came to play. They are ready to fight.
Here's the big thing, though. Team Intel dropped that Climatizer, so this was a concerted effort for Team Intel to go out of their normal looting path to try and take an early fight up against the squad, and it was Team Razor that they found in their crosshairs. So they'll be able to get this loot over at Epi and then go ahead and move back over towards Climatizer to finish off their looting path. Here's Team Frenzy, though, in Skyhook East right now, in a fight up against another squad. Full 3 trying to push Savvy. He is by himself right now. They are full boring onto him. At least that Caustic is, but he might regret it. 76 damage, bubbled down. They've lost out on Kush. Valk is right above them now. Lane getting that knock onto Savvy, and our players are on top of it right now. Take a look at Lane, absolutely on fire, formerly from Team Fire as well.
Really nice bubble there from the enemy player, but an even better Valkyrie jetpack usage there coming in, and you can see why their team name is Valk. I mean, great execution, kind of catching that Gibby off guard, free shots in the back. Anytime that you can get shots on a player running away from you like that, that just means you've had really great positioning, especially when we're talking about a bunch of skilled players here like we have in Series E. But Fat Fruit Ninja goes down surprisingly to a 30-30, and he gets taken out after getting one of the initial kills and slays in game number 1. You can see the change in Caustic there, being able to take down the barrels, but he's still as annoying as ever as the gas kind of lingers like a bad elevator fart, and now they're going to continue to move forward on top of this area in Lava City. Now, Vizio is one of those squads to definitely keep an eye on. Song, he's kind of moved away from Caustic, and he's gone onto Horizon now, but he's one of those players that can really play any legend.
Yeah, you have to worry about him, especially because he was just one of those Caustics that were an absolute beam or absolute laser, but now it looks like Oxyaries brought back into things. Super extended fight. Oxyaries goes down once again. That's going to be Klutzy picking up that knock onto him once more, but Z Davis will trade back, and this time around, Team Tyson will survive. They need to get the res here, and they need to be careful. Rotations should still be coming through from the Northwest squads, but it looks like Tyson will be safe to get the armor swaps for Oxyaries, heal back up, and be happy with this one. But this was a fight that had been taking place over the last, I want to say, 2.5 minutes. I mean, the first knock I saw was when we swapped over to Team Intel making that push onto Razor. So this was a super extended fight.
I think they slammed some nuggets in between games or something like that, Jamerson. They're coming back with a little energy, feeling pretty good about this game number 2. Again, Oxyaries, he's playing pretty angry, and he rightfully so should be. He was having to watch his teammates kind of duke it out as a solo, or as a duo, as he was the solo player that gets eliminated. Another player is going to be taken down. 15 squads remain. I would say a little bit more fast-paced than game number 2. And this is going to be an interesting situation because we saw so many players setting up in the zone early here, but now with a very predictable geyser zone, I wonder which teams are going to elect to do so. XG, you know their style. They're going to be getting inside the zone fairly early. They could even probably advance more. There's actually teams in the building directly in front of them, but if you had to pick some of the popular geyser endings, we talked about the endings towards the very backhand side where the respawn beacon is, but there's also endings towards this building where OXG is at too, so this isn't a bad building to be in.
Yeah, this is a nice middle of the road kind of building because you also have that one ending that basically ends on that high ground just to the southeast where that replicator, or not the replicator, but the credits were. Now we do have a fight over here. Big Mod, and might not be much of one. Sung getting that first knock with the help of his teammate onto Gordo. Here comes the second entry, and Borton. Oh, he has been an absolute beamer chasing down this Gibraltar. There's the second one onto Noodle. Only one player remaining for the squad is Team Vizio, on the verge of picking up a +3 if they can find him. Team Intel, though, still over at Climatizer, ends up getting into another fight. Impulse going down, but they've already gotten the thirst onto Ace here. Fearless, though, taking some damage from some gas. It seems like he needs some help, and now it's Mooney showing up. Fearless is going to go ahead and join up with his bro to go ahead and get that last kill. DSO has been eliminated. Team Intel have picked up 6 kill points already within the first 5 minutes of this game.
So Intel's thought process seems to be more aggressive, add more real estate onto the map that they can take up. Remember last time, Jamerson, they were kind of camping over towards one area, sitting in a choke, waiting for players to come to them. This time they're taking a much more active approach, chasing players and teams around, and then they can go and use their skyward dive later. So I like these adjustments coming through. You thought that maybe they would show the lobby more respect. They're actually doing the opposite. They're showing a little bit more disrespect towards the lobby, and that's what you need to do. You need to carry that confidence over because Team Intel is not just a team that can win Series E. I think that that's a team that could eventually win an ALGS tournament too, and we talk about what they're able to do and how they're able to team fight. You start by doing it on the on the open night. You want to carry that on over towards the pro day. It's a little bit of a different style on the pro day. You have to get inside the zone and play that a little bit more, otherwise you're going to get punished. But being able to have that type of team fighting ability is what you want to have. You want to have other teams fear you. You know, it's something that I talked to Lou about in an interview in recent times and recent memories of him saying, you know, teams are afraid to fight us. I feel like that's what kind of Intel's going for with their style of play.
Right now, Team Nerf, the team that we highlighted having no points coming into this game, have set up pretty deep into Geyser right now, but unfortunately they haven't been able to connect. There we go. Force on the verge now, just 2 more shots to try and get himself a blue Evo at the very least, but the missile storms are just going to go ahead and grief their doors, making these pieces a little bit harder and harder for him, especially sitting on that white armor. We'll see, though. If the armor checks come through, maybe a team decides to try and push in. Eventually, though, they will be funneled in. And Force is going to need something to swap off onto. He cannot be sitting on that Sentinel, so hopefully he has something more mid-range to play off of. But taking a look at ring number 3, you called it, Tom, going all the way back. Matt Pickett is already there. You can see set up with that Watson, has all of the fences probably down in tow for his squad. Tyson have position over that vault tunnel. Might eventually run into a fight with Team Intel if they end up staying inside of that vault tunnel.
You still have a lot of different options for this zone, but you can definitely say the safe pick for SAF is going to be over towards that backhand building. Now, the team that has a little bit of work cut out from them that got there early would be OXG. And why is that? That's because all the teams are going to rotate towards them. So, yeah, it's nice that you're in the zone, but you have to be ready to pick up some kill points along the way and then move over towards the final circle. Otherwise, getting there early doesn't really do you anything. And, yeah, that's their style of play. Don't get me wrong. But that's why I'm just such a big fan of Team Intel. I'm not saying, one style is better than the other, but I'm definitely a proponent of on the open night taking advantage of these situations. And everybody needs to do what they're good at, right? At a certain point, though, you wonder, OXG, are you maybe, selling yourself short almost by setting up too early on a day like this where you could be running around potentially working on your team fighting and getting extra kills? Now, you could also argue that, well, this is how you would play normally. So going and getting over towards those final circles and putting yourselves in these situations work better long-term too. So it really just depends on what your style is.
Oh, Team Intel about to run into Team Tyson here. Fearless has to be careful. He is front on the line. They're going to go ahead and back away. And I think at this point, they know exactly what's going on here. They've got a team camped up. They don't want to take this fight. They might have been able to spot out that it was a Watson composition, so they're not going to be able to use their throwables. And of course, Gibraltar is basically worthless other than the bubble in these fights. So they're going to go ahead and back away and just go ahead and use that skyward dive to get past them. They've got other options, though. It looks like the connecting area to the north of Geyser is still available.
Another team to fight, though, too.
Also got a team out here over at No Name, Tom.
I think this is great adjustments, Jamerson. I mean, you could see what they're thinking. They're like, okay, well, we can go around and, just like you were talking about, find an opportunity to skyward dive. But along the way, we found a team to fight. And we know that a lot of teams are already set up on over towards the zone. So let's scope this out. We're safe for now. Let's see if we could take this fight, test their might, get an armor kind of check on them, get a vibe check in terms of how good they are. And when you see a team like this setting up over here and kind of like looting, you feel, all right, well, they don't have anything, right? They're still looking for loot at this point with round 2 closing. What's their plan? I'm not quite sure if Intel is interested in taking this fight, but I feel like they're the type of squad that wants this.
Yeah, I would like to see them go for it, but I think the consideration of already having the +6 to their name really does entice them to try and go for that +12 from getting that ultimate win. Here's Excedrin playing on the south side of the zone. They know that this one is pulling away even deeper. If they want to, maybe they can try and go for that beacon scan. It looks a little bit risky, actually, to go for it at Big Mod. That was a consideration for them. Force from Team Nerf ends up getting a knock onto Locks. We'll see if they can actually secure that for themselves to give themselves another point at the very least right now. But you can see, you can't really punish anything here from this area. Too many teams around. Kimchi Lee almost goes down to a full connect charge rifle. And now Team Intel, looks like they have full committed onto Tyson. They see all the armor swaps here too. This is going to be such a difficult fight for them, but you got to imagine Fearless calls that one out and says this is basically an impossible position. They've got multiple armor swaps. They've got the Watson generator there. Kimchi Lee on the side of Excedrin does ultimately go down. And now Excedrin are in a really tough spot. They might be able to pick up his banner and maybe go for a res.
Yeah, and you're going to want Kimchi Lee back in this one. Such a talented player that we have. Always love watching him play. Mechanically gifted, also shot just absolutely insane. Another person that has a ridiculous shot, that's going to be Fearless. Now they're getting interested in fighting this one. Like you said, Gibraltar not useful in these situations, but heck, Horizon is, especially in close quarters. So great utilization of the black hole there. Unfortunately, doesn't connect. It does force out the bubble, which means that now that they do have the bubble in Mooney's hands, they could advance and do a counter one, which is going to give them a little bit of an advantage in this fight. Nice barrel placement by the enemy team. That's going to back Fearless off just a little bit, and right on cue, Mooney's going to go and drop that secondary bubble to go and take the fight. But again, you really like how this Caustic is playing. He's given them an opportunity to kind of live in, not only that, clutter the space and the visual area that Intel would have in order to take this fight. But now they've kind of done their job, right, Jamerson? They've forced them out, and they've taken their spot.
They still have to worry. There is another entryway into the tunnel side. This team doesn't have to full commit onto this door. They're keeping an eye on the blast doors for the time being, probably hoping for the caustic charges to come back up. But ultimately, if Team Intel are able to chase them back even further out, you know, that's when the Gibraltar will come back into play. That defensive bombardment can be utilized here. Team Intel has been good about being able to apply the pressure onto them, force out the bubble early, and then play off that. Barrel cleared on the right-hand side. Now Impulse is looking for that flank. Joining on board with Team Vizio, they're playing off this high ground that we were talking about before, which I really wanted to see maybe Oxygen pull back towards, but Vizio ends up getting this one. And they do have some space to work with. We know that Excedrin were playing off the choke to their west, so this is relatively free for them. Their start of fight, somehow actually, they ended up getting 3 boxes down over there as Team Intel are continuing this fight inside of the vault tunnel right now. A little bit split up. You can see Mooney is isolated for the time being, but Intel ends up getting pulled.
Wow.
Pushed. What? They should have been prepared for that. They do at least answer back with one knock. Mooney gets a second one. It's down to a 1v1 here. 88 onto that gold armor, and that Caustic is just stuck in the doorway right now because of all the downed bodies. Here's Mooney trying to go in with that G7 Scout, but it's not enough. Saws ends up clutching up for Team Valk. Their Intel are knocked out. Here's Team Nerf making the push out of their building. They were able to make good use of their time inside of Geyser early on. Got the purples. Promos gets the kill onto Lux as well. That's someone sign us out. Now Team Nerf have all this loot to work with. They're on the western side, cleared out that heartbeat sensor, excuse me, the Seer ult, giving them so much value there as they retake their building.
Such a rare sight to see Team Intel lose a fight, but to lose that without really, like you said, preparing for it when they're always the team that's prepping for the fight is a great sign by the enemy squad that was able to take them down. But Nerf is bouncing back. They found themselves inside of the zone. You know that start a fight, the team that lands over towards Geyser is a good spot. There should be Matt Pickett's fences over towards the tail end over there. You also have the Mastiff in the back pocket if you want to go and use that one on the ground. Vizio's found themselves in a really good position too. But really great plays all around. That Caustic armor swap was huge, and not only that, the ability to use all of the knockdown shields and kind of be stuck in between all of that put themselves in a really great position to go and win that fight. Turns, gets shot in the Achilles heel there throughout the entire time Sung had him in his scopes. It was just a couple of charge rifle shots, and that's all she wrote, but that was max damage basically with the charge rifle.
Yeah, he got like, what, 370 and 80 connects in a row. So that was just great tracking coming out from Sung, as he's going to try and block off this door with that grav lift. He needs to get it right inside, though, so that they can't get out. And he is lining this one up expertly with the zone closing, but they are on the slow side, so they can buy some time for themselves. But he has multiple tools. Use that grav lift. He can go ahead and toss in the black hole eventually. They don't have any utility to follow up onto this one, but they're keeping an eye on it. They know that it's a full 3-man there, and every team is just focusing on that one. Yeah, take a look. Missile swarm out as well. And now Sung just setting up, but they've got to turn their attention to this team. Valking behind them now. You can see the nades coming out. The defensive bombardment has been utilized on this squad, but Sung has to fall back. You can see that defensive bombardment has gone down, forcing out bubbles from either side. Team Vizio keeping an eye on their back as well throughout all of this. But now with that bubble down, they're getting some free fire, but they've got to be careful. Another defensive bombardment has been used on them. They should have that grav lift to stay safe, though. And there's the knock, the missile swarm coming out from Bourne, and he's chasing after them. But it looks like he cannot chase any further. There's caustic barrels, there's Watson traps everywhere. He's by himself, stuck underneath. He needs Farmer Lucas and Sung to try and keep that team at bay to stay up, and it looks like they will be able to. Team Excedrin might have been that squad that was stuck inside of the building, but because of that Valkyl, they're able to make it out.
Yeah, that's a pretty fortunate situation in terms of the butterfly effect that happens in Apex. One team gets distracted, they realize that that's the focus that they need to have now, that they're not going to be able to take those kills down. Now, my question is, what was up with the teams that set up early, right? OXG, where's start a fight? They're sitting on over towards that respawn beacon that we mentioned, but the zone does pull away from that, so it's going to be that ending kind of in between of the two buildings over there, which is going to make it difficult for a lot of our squads over here. So if you are locking down inside of the building, you're eventually going to have to rotate. There is that little portion of the replicator building that's going to be in over towards your southwest side, but that's the only one that's going to be in there, and it's actually Tyson on the outskirts. That's Z Davis and his fences.
Yeah, that's 2 knocks on the oxygen side as well. Start a fight inside. Joey ends up picking a few of those. We'll see if Tyson can continue this push on to start a fight. It looks like the res was used to get him back on up with that bubble. Right now, 5 seconds, zone number 5 to start closing in on them. They cannot commit themselves into the here. They need to try and take rooftop control instead of fighting from the inside. And there we go. They back away for this one. I'll have a lot of the northern zone to play off of. It looks like there are some bins in the center zone to try and get into. That might be the plan eventually for them. But for Team Tyson, they back away, try to get a better lay of the land. And take a look, Vizio in this spot. They are still safe on the high ground. They're going to be sitting pretty here for some time.
I wish that every legend, this is a little off topic. Well, I don't have time to talk about it because this team's pushing up, but I have something I want to bring up eventually. Cruisin gets taken down. Great shots from Borton. An amazing black hole comes in from the enemy side. You can see it really slowing down the enemy players, and it was Urban with the shots. It was the PK, or actually the Massive, doing massive damage, and then they're going to shut him down. That was all Urban. I mean, he gets the initial 2v3, but that black hole was masterfully placed. Then the Massive comes through. What a job by him getting his teammate back into the game as well. Now you can see Tyson trying to stay alive. They're stuck on over towards the bins here, which is a pretty popular area to go and lock down when you are not in a great position. So you can see Tyson really trying to stay alive, waiting for Joey's bubble to come back on over. And the cover fire from Oxy is absolutely phenomenal. He's got the gold armor. He's got the gold helmet. Flatline. Volt also has that digi threat on it, so he's feeling really good about this current situation. Also going to help save some of those cells because he only has 4 overall, but Joey, he's going to need to bubble. This is not the position that you want to be in. Start a fight, find themselves in another great position. Remember how great they were at prioritizing the enemy teams over towards the final zone. We'll see if they can do it again and win back-to-back games.
It's our final 4 squads, round number 6, the final ring about to start closing in. We got Nerf, start a fight, Excedrin along with Team Tyson, but Team Tyson find themselves in the crosshairs of everyone right now. As we'll see if Turns is able to get another ultimate up for himself. But Tyson, the first one to lose out on Joey Blackout. That's going to be Aves picking that one up for start of fight. And the Thirst coming in. But this entire time, you can see Nerf now starting to apply pressure onto start of fight, while Excedrin are just waiting things out. They're waiting for the trade. They go out for the peak. They're taking some damage from promos here. Cruisin ends up getting a knock onto Oxy Aries, and that's Team Tyson eliminated in 4th place. Now start a fight, make their advance into the center zone, but they put themselves in between both Team Nerf and Excedrin. Nerf, though, full pushing as a 3-man, bubble out early from Force to get right on top of them. Cancel any kind of animation there as they use that Q from that Seer to force Excedrin back. Urban dropping low, forcing out a bat, but they're going to go ahead and take their time to finish off Team Start a Fight. Rollers gets thirsted out there. Now Excedrin are just hoping for the trades. They're waiting for it. Here's a late bubble now as they push forward. There's an arm swap in play for them as they get the knock onto Matt Pickett. Force goes down, and it's going to be Excedrin picking up the kills. Kimchi Lee ultimately falls. We'll see if Urban has an armor swap for himself, but he's going to slow things down. Aves is the only one alive now for Team Start a Fight, and Urban gets that armor swap off. Pushing forward is Cruisin with the heady and the 45. Excedrin will take game number 2.
Those wingman shots were huge. I mean, able to connect at the right time, at the right place. Now, when you were watching the way that this was kind of unfolding, you thought that Nerf was going to do an amazing job, but it was Cruisin answering right back, but also Urban even putting themselves in a situation to be able to do that with that great black hole that he put down. Remember, Cruisin ran up and got basically taken out for free, so this was a very open 2v3 that they needed to win, and because of the black hole on top of the grab lift with the amazing shots with the Mastiff, allowed them to continue on in that game. What an end zone right there, and I really thought that the way that Nerf was kind of peppering the players and the teams into one another, that they were going to take advantage of that and finish that game off, but there was a lot of clutch moments there from Excedrin.
Yeah, just really unfortunate Nerf not having that much cover to play off of with on that north side. Here was the flurry of fights that we had at the beginning of game number 2. I mean, by the end of round 1 closing, we're already down to 15 squads, so it was magnitudes of orders faster than we had in game number 1. But I loved seeing these fights. I love seeing old players come back as well. Lane has been slowly resurging back up in competitive Apex Legends, so it's great to see him back here. But Team Vizio taking these team fights, it was great to see.
Very skilled players here in Series E. You could see the tracking, everything that you need to do mechanically, teamwork, decision making. Not a lot of mistakes happening throughout that game in that series too. Just a lot of clutch moments that you weren't really expecting. This is one of them. I mean, like you said, Lane coming through and getting multiple knocks there onto Team Intel. Now this 1v1 over towards the tail end. The big armor swap from the Caustic. You could see starts off with gold armor, ends up coming back through. All of a sudden, magically, whoop, gets taken down and no shields, and you have no idea what's going on. He's like, oh, all of a sudden I'm on top of your head. While he's on top of his head, he's still shooting him, which no one knows how he was doing that. And then he picks up purple armor, all in just a matter of a split second. So amazing plays from them. This was a great moment there for Team Nerf, where you saw them putting themselves in a great position to win this game. The shots here from Song, like you said, Jamerson, multiple 70s, going 72, 78, 78 there. Ridiculous tracking from him. Charge rifle, yeah, we know it's not the hardest gun to shoot, but either way, getting max damage in there, definitely favorable for their situation. Unfortunately, they weren't able to finish those kills off, but what we expected was teams like Start a Fight and Nerf, who land over towards Geyser and over towards Lava Siphon. Both those teams now were consistent. Start a Fight, they were number 1 in terms of getting game number 1 under their belt and then finding themselves in a top 4 situation, so they're definitely feeling good about how they've played the first 2 games, but I'm really happy to see Nerf have a bounce back game, even though they weren't able to win that.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Team Nerf. I mean, we didn't really get to talk about it, but after game number 1, only 2 of our partnered squads found themselves in the top 10. But after that performance there, coming out from Excedrin and Nerf, Tyson, Vizio, all throughout, and Intel at the early stages of the game, they now propel themselves, or at least should be in the top 10. We're going to have to find out, though. We're going to go ahead and send this over to Yeso to break down game number 2. So Yeso, go ahead and take it away.
Couldn't agree with you more there, Jamerson. Felt like really almost all the partnered squads stepping up and having a solid performance there. Even though Intel, who had some good early showings, they kind of get caught with their pants down there by Valk a little bit and lose that fight. But ultimately, good start of the game for them. And you want to talk about teams that finished pretty strong. Excedrin, of course, grabbing the win. Nerf looking really good. I think T-Squared is right. That's a great bounce back performance from them. Vizio jumping into a lot of fights. They get into the late game. They're finishing around, I believe, 7th or 8th place. So all of these squads looking solid. But, of course, important to point out that not only does SAF get into the top 3 once again, they finish, I believe, in 2nd place, right, getting taken out there at the end by Excedrin, but they were popping up in that kill feed a ton, especially in that late circle. If you just watched the kill feed and saw, Tyson and a couple of other squads getting taken out, SAF had their fingerprints all over a ton of those kills, and they really look solid. Let's take a look at our champion squad here, though. Of course, Excedrin grabbing the win in game number 2, and, of course, the way is led by cruising in terms of the damage. 3 kills and 2 assists as well. Meanwhile, Urban Apex bringing 1,500 damage. Kimchi with a solid showing as well. 6 assists to his name. No big surprise there. Kimchi continuing to be the backbone of this Excedrin team, and they pick up a total of 9 kills in that game and a really good performance. Let's take a look at our Mobile One high performance moment here from game number 2. And it is, of course, the Excedrin late game. And this was kind of chaotic because you see, Matt Pickett stepping forward in between both squads and gets down early. And the thing is Excedrin didn't waver, kind of despite the chaos and despite having to fight on 2 different fronts. And, Kimchi going down early and Urban, low on health. And Cruisin just kind of holding his water here, not missing with this wingman. 1, 2 shots there. Drops a couple. Abe's still alive, still has a bit of those shields. But enemy comes in for the finish. 63 with that shot. Another couple there to close it out. And Excedrin just with a really good showing here. And I love that Excedrin, and I'll refer again to the interview that I had with them at the start of the season, talking about trying to learn from what Intel did last season and how aggressive and how confidently that they played throughout the rest of the season. That was a big reason why, specifically, not only did they succeed, but why they had those really big performances, right? They had multiple triple-digit showings during last season, and it was largely due to that play style, and it truly feels every single week we see Excedrin getting more and more comfortable with playing in a much similar way to what we saw from Team Intel in the back half of last season, and they're benefiting from it. You know, sometimes you're going to take a fight that isn't going to quite work. You're going to bite off maybe a little bit more that you could chew, but I think those are all lessons that Excedrin is taking on board and really using to the best of their ability. And this just seems like a completely different team to the one that we watched in Season 4, and I think it's all for the better here. So I'm loving getting to see this growth from Excedrin, and of course, Game 2 seems to belong to them because I feel like almost every single night here of Series E this season, they are a serious threat to win the second game of the day. So start a little slow, but they get it going really fast. We're going to go to a break, though, right now. When we come back, we'll have our final game on World's Edge here for the day, so don't go far.
When the chicken is this crispy and this tasty, it doesn't matter what else is for dinner. Tyson crispy strips are so delicious, they'll be your favorite part of every meal. More crispy chicken, more family faves, more to love. Tyson. Tyson boneless buffalo bites have that tasty kick of flavor, so they're perfect for any get-together. If there are any left when your guests arrive. Tyson Anytizers Chicken. More kicks of flavor, more smiling snackers, more to love. Tyson.
What am I to do with this? To the top of the game and it's getting, but I'm finna handle it. Break it down like an analyst. I'll be loading up, they wanna package this. Pray for peace, pacifist. I'm never old enough to give a promise.
Welcome back to Series E. Things shaping up a lot like we had last week in Open Night, where Team Start a Fight and Excedrin both got early wins, and we'll see if that remains to be true. Let's go ahead and check in with the Mobile One leaderboard, though, to see where everyone stands. And Team Start a Fight, with another great performance in a row, end up propelling themselves another, 16 points now after game number 2. Still in first place with 39 points, but Team Excedrin find themselves now in second place with 26.
You guys have ever heard of the rap god? We got Jamerson, the math god, over here. Don't ever test this guy in a 1v1 math contest, otherwise you're going to lose. But what a great job from Start a Fight. Realistically, again, being gifted kind of 2 zones, but taking advantage of those zones is what Apex is all about, right? It's like getting home court advantage and defending it, and that's what great teams do. So really nice job by them. And unfortunately, I think that we were talking about Team Razor in the pregame show about how this is the team kind of on the lower end of the totem pole for our partner teams in the leaderboard, while they're also dealing with that again. I believe it was Team Intel that ticked them out early in game number 2.
Yeah, I think one thing to note, though, even though they are running a Watson composition that absolutely loves when the rings pull towards them, the fact that they're over at Geyser means that they can also early rotate. Geyser is a relatively easy loop path. I mean, you have 2 lanes of buildings that you basically follow all the way down to get towards the center of the map, and then move from there. You've got balloons to utilize as well along the ways. So this is a team, I believe, that should be practiced in being able to make those rotations if the ring ends up moving away from them. But we only have one more game left here on World's Edge, and right now they got 2 out of 3 pulling their way. I mean, everything is going in their favor.
No doubt about it. But you know what you said, with 1 game remaining, where's the zone going to go here? I would love to see something a little bit more northern. We haven't seen that in a while. I also love fragment zones because it's central for everybody to kind of rotate through. And you know, when you have that again with Start a Fight, they've been a team that hasn't really been known for setting up in the middle of the zone, but then all of a sudden Pickett goes on over to Watson and it changes their entire play style. But I've loved the way that they've been able to execute, and I think that we're seeing a really high level amount of Apex being played from our partner teams for sure, but it's the open teams tonight that have been surprising.
Yeah, right now, only 3 of our 6 partner squads find themselves in the top 10, and that's Team Intel barely in the top 10 with the points that they were able to get in that last game. Nerf right behind them, and of course we have Razor all the way down there in 18th place. Oh wait, never mind, I counted wrong. So 4 out of our squads, 4 out of our 6 squads currently in the top 10, but not by much.
Oh, got him.
Taking a look at the overall leaderboard though, Team Razor still a little bit struggling here. As you can see, they're 100 points, almost 100 points down from Team Tyson. They need to really try and recoup a lot of the losses from the early weeks. And like Yeso said at the beginning of the show, Tom, you need to make sure that this lead doesn't get out of hand, because at some point it becomes almost insurmountable.
Yeah, it's tough for Razor right now. They're the only team not sitting in 200 points, right? So you want to see them do well, but I'm not seeing any signs of life because they're being bullied by other squads. It's like a team like Intel comes through, charges directly at them, and is basically saying, get out of here. We'll see you next season, maybe in the relegation area, because they're just not having any of that, and that's what Team Intel does. So I want to see Razor eventually figure out what their play style is going to be. Right now, their play style is literally watching the other teams play, and that's just not a good play style to have.
Yeah, we're seeing some compositional changes out from them. I believe last week we saw some Bloodhounds. This week we're seeing Seer, and they are looking for that early information, the early extra information you can get in these 50-50 fights. But that last fight just definitely did not go their way. They might go back over towards the Bloodhound to have that scan, which provides a lot more active information to the team instead of having to call things out, right? Being able to see the after image from the scan could be so much more useful than having your Seer be like, hey, I see someone through a wall, maybe. I don't know exactly where he is, but he's roughly in that general direction.
It's time to just play Apex Legends Roulette and just let, you know, the fate decide, right? Spin the wheel, maybe bust out some Mad Maggie, who knows, Ash. You got to do something if you're Team Razor, right? Maybe go to comfort picks that you play in ranked instead of, you know, what they normally play. I don't know. I really don't have an answer for them, but, you know, maybe it's Pathfinder. We love watching Pathfinder. Maybe they just bust it out and say, hey, let's go with, you know, Valkyrie, Pathfinder, Horizon, 3 legends that all can kind of duke it out in their own right and have their own type of skirmishing, because right now you need points. You need to take skirmishes. You need to win fights, and they haven't been able to do so. So I'm cheering for Razor. I hope that they can get it together. And now that we have the early game here, something that I wanted to mention, Jamerson, is, all right, if I was in charge of Apex Legends, I would make it so that your heirloom did 1 damage and every legend had an heirloom, because imagine if you could throw your heirloom at someone and do 1 damage, how much disrespect that would be.
Oh, Leda just pushing into that, and it's going to be Nene getting the knock onto him. But you see someone Sinus, they don't have much HP to work with, still chasing after this one. And as they drop down, they're going to go ahead and the res. And unfortunately for Nene and D-resed, they end up taking that damage from that fall. You can see, I don't think they can. Okay, they both actually recover, but for how long? Oh boy, here comes a drop down from the rest of someone. Sinus, all 3 members going down.
Did he shoot his teammate thinking that was an?
Yeah.
All right, we won't talk about that. That was if I'm someone Sinus, I'm going for this team every single time after watching that play. But, you know, going back to the heirloom discussion, which was much more entertaining than that fight. All right, so Watson can throw a Nessie at people. Jamerson, hear me out. Throw a Nessie. That would be super fun, but just 1 damage. That's all I'm asking for, man. Everyone would buy one because it would be pay to win, and then you could disrespect the heck out of people. Think about it. Just think about it.
I'm trying to think of emotes in other games that actually have damage. I believe there's one in League of Legends where Samira throws a coin, and if you hit, it does 1 damage. I've seen a few YouTube videos where Samira will try to get a last hit on someone with that 1 coin damage, but it's so incredibly hard to line up because it's also like a 3-second animation. It's kind of crazy. But hey, let's take a look at the ring. I think there's a team that's pretty happy with this pull. I don't know. Do you think there's a team that's happy with this pull?
It's a team that starts with S and it ends with F, and they only have 1 letter in between. That's start a fight. So really nice job of kind of predicting the zones with their landing spot. That's why they went Geyser, because they knew all 3 of the zones were going to favorably pull over towards them. But in all seriousness, let's see how they execute here, because that's the hardest part, right? You could say, oh, look at the zone, that's unfair for us. Well, Nerf got zone number 1, and they were, you know, the first game they were able to get the zone and they weren't able to execute. All right, so it's not as easy as it seems, especially with all of these teams being so darn good. This has been a team that's been impressing us today. Laying on this Valkyrie has been phenomenal.
The timings on those peaks were so great. He knows he gets the call out. Someone's low on stairwell. Goes ahead, goes for the peak. They don't even know what hit him. He gets the knock. He goes back down just for a quick second. Gets the call out. We're challenging on roof. Goes back up and takes out that Caustic. What a beautiful fight coming out. Another fight though, taking place over here at Lava Fissure as FRC are about to take out Leave No Witnesses, and they definitely did that. As FRC will clean that one up. They've even got the beacon to fight over if they want to, and they'll be able to get that scan for themselves.
Sushi is cracked. Look at this guy. He is just phenomenal with the Watson fences. The dude puts fences down extremely fast, and not only that, but the shots and the tracking there with, I believe it was the L-Star, was looking really, really sexy. Now he's jump on board with Razor, and this is the team that we want to see some good stuff from. I want to really root for them to pop off and make this race close, because you know that they're going to be able to find their play style once they get a little bit of confidence. But hey, we're still early in Series E, so let's find out if they can definitely do that a little bit later on. Maybe it's going to be this game, as they've lived and don't have to deal with Team Intel charging them, which Intel known for being the bullies on open day. They're continuing to look for more fights over here. And this is going to be on the Overlook side of the map. They get the initial knock there. Double sniper rifles, but they have PKs in the back pocket. Going to have to land the shots. Fearless misses the first shot, but is able to line up the second and the third. Surprisingly, he does finally get that knock. I thought that that player should have possibly been knocked after that second shot, but that's going to be DSO 0 going out in 16th place. And this looks like the pace that we had in game number 2.
Yeah, Team Intel are going to want to continue to apply this pressure. I feel like, you know, when the comfort zone is usually here on World's Edge, that's where you want to be able to pick up those 15, 20 kill games that Team Intel just did such an amazing job of being able to accrue multiple times in the second half of Series E Season 4. On board with Team Nerf, though, as they're starting to try and hold a decent position here over at that Geyser connector towards No Name. This is a very popular spot if you're looking to get your Evo shields charged up. You have an excellent gatekeeping position along with sight lines across the board for teams rotating in from the western edge.
Surprised Turns isn't still limping from the charge rifle shots that Sung put him through in the previous game, but he gets rewarded with a purple armor there, which is really nice for them. Now, this is a very populated area, and if you've locked this down in scrims before, or if you watch competitive Apex, you know there's a lot of angles that you have to go and watch, right? And eventually, once a fight takes place, there's another choke around the corner where other people are going to be looking to third parties. So we'll see what Turns and Team Nerf is going to be able to do. Meanwhile, Oxy goes down for his team. That's the first, or not the first time, it's actually the second time that he's been taken down very early. So this is not the situation that you're looking for Tyson. Now Joey does whatever he can to get his boy back into this one. They still need to get that banner, but it's looking like, is that the same exact spot that he died in the previous game? It is.
This is actually 3 games in a row where Oxy's gone down first for his team, unfortunately. Not to pile on, but something's happening there where they need to kind of shore things
getting
up
bailed on
in that regard. Yeah, and now with only about 30 seconds left to go, Joey Blackout ends up getting pushed by a team on that hill, and the team inside of Harvester just peppering away at him. Left down to about 2 HP. We'll only have time to get this bat off. Z Davis himself has not healed. He's going down. That's going to be Nades picking that one up from Team Razor. And now Joey Blackout will fall. Team Tyson out. But they at least pick up 1 placement points. But is that really that much consolation here? Is Team Razor now turning around onto the team coming out from Harvester's side? Should just be happy with the kill points along with that loot. Excedrin find a team down here by tree. Largely isolated fight. That's going to be Team Intelligence losing out on Trap Lord. The bubble used, and that's going to be him baiting him back with the 75 and 40. Cruising. Definitely sending them for a bruising.
That was an amazing play from Cruisin'. I mean, there's so much to learn right there. That player needs to get aggressive on that because he understands that he's getting charged from the enemy players. And because Cruisin' understands that, he goes and baits underneath the almost like awning type of area that building provides that cover, goes over there and waits and just sets his reticle up. I mean, there was so much to learn right there. Just the presence of mind of, okay, if this player is to drop, which he's most likely going to, where would he go? Well, guess what? Right into where the shot is going to be landed there. Perfect execution from Cruisin', and we've seen some amazing plays from that squad specifically. Now, for the first time, we've seen the Rampage today coming through. I mean, that thing is deadly for sure, and the bane of a lot of players' existences. But now Sung is going to be coming through with the Rampage R9, trying to find that third party, and he's understanding the situation. Well, it's not going to work out. I'm taking a decent amount of damage, and I'm taking so much damage that I just need to completely run.
Yeah, taking a lot of ring damage mostly there, so he does back away. FRC seems to be getting pushed on the Snake side here in the northeast of Harvester. That should be, I believe, Razor still holding that choke point for the time being. Key ends up pushing up, getting the knock onto Sushi now. FRC in a spot of trouble. You know that the third party is probably coming any moment now. Key getting that knock onto Fat Fruit Ninja only leaves Relay up on this Valk. Here's someone Sinus reestablishing their position inside, clearing out all of those traps as well. And now it's going to be that bug outs, but no! Mid-air, they get that last kill onto Relay.
Wait, was that 8 kills?
Is eliminated. That's a lot of kills, yeah.
Yeah. Dude has 8 kills. Someone sign him.
Definitely living up to their name, but right now Team Intel in a lot of trouble. Small sliver of cover to work with here to try and get the res, but he's gonna have to instant bubble, doesn't have it. Impulse somehow survives. They get pushed from the low. Mooney cracked, and Team Intel on the verge of getting knocked out here, but he's still got some fight left in him. Not enough. Mooney will fall after trading away about 170, 160 damage there. It's Spectre Esports, who were our number 2 team after game number 2, now bouncing back here in, number 2 team after game number 1, but bouncing back here in game number 3. But now we're down to 10 squads remaining here in zone number 2.
This is kind of what you expect on the open night, right? You don't really think that in game number 1 that the pace would keep the way that it was with so many teams playing over towards that end zone. This player doesn't realize it's an ambush. It's a trap. Somehow is able to live. Bubble goes down. Poor Kimchi Lee didn't get the memo. He's just going to back on out, and rightfully so. I would be pretty angry, too. That team was just waiting for him the entire time.
Ooh, looks like we're getting the blue boxes ending here. Unless
Classic
this
ending.
pulls over towards No Name, but Start a Fight and Nerf are both set up in a position to react to wherever this ring ends up pulling, whether it's to the north or to the south. But I think Team Start a Fight definitely have the better position overall, just because look at all the teams coming in still from that north side. I believe that's Spectre Esports that are still over there. Impulse still hoping to be able to come back to get his teammates in, but unfortunately, Spectre Esports are just camping those banners.
You can see the heavy gatekeeping happening over towards the southern side of your screen, too. As it's going to be Cruisin' and Urban from, I believe that's Team Excedrin, dealing with Team Vizio over there. Borton's got eyes on him, and Lucas and Sung are like, I'm moving with the zone, Borton. We'll see you later. Warren's not giving up on them, and as soon as that happens, Cruisin starts moving too. So I love watching the little arrows from the players coming down, but also love watching this fight taking place. And a team that's just been so darn good, that's going to be Team Valk taking down multiple players from Team Razor. And unfortunately for Boxa T, looks like he's going to have to duel this out as a solo, even also getting hunted down by this squad too, so they're not letting him live. They understand this is a Watson. This is an opportunity to get some extra kill points and also eliminate one of our partnered teams over here. So I like the aggressive play that's coming in from one of our open teams, but it's been at the, I guess I can't find the right word, poor Razor.
Expense?
That's all I got to think. Expense.
Yeah.
At the expense of Razor. I just feel bad for him because they're really trying to get it together, and they're just running into situations that are not good and not in their favor. It's just tough because you want to see them put something together when all the other partner teams are doing so well.
Oh, the turnaround from Team Vizio, retaking height with that grab lift, getting them one stuck inside of that singularity, pushing into the bubble here. Might be able to get the knock. Farmer Lucas does go down, but they trade away for Locks, and now someone Sinus, who have been running this lobby here in game number 3, on the verge of getting knocked out, but they still have some fight left and started a fight coming in for the third party, actually keeping them alive. And Key is up and healthy, but he still has to deal with the 3-man of start a fight that might try to push in on this. Here comes the res out onto Locks, and it looks like someone Sinus will be safe for the time being. Locks gets back up, and Leda will be brought back in as well. Now Team Vizio left to try and rat this one out. I believe we've got 2 rats still alive. Here's Team Oxygen in dire straits. They've got the early blue bin position, but they're still sitting on white armors. They are just sitting ducks here in the middle. You can see Angle still on that interception pylon as well, and Kupski just got that one down.
I'm gonna vote for a name change. You got Key, you have Lock, and then Leda. We need Leda to change his name to Door, and then they could be Team the One Who Knocks. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. They have the branding already lined up. They just need to go that extra mile.
They get that ring sponsorship, right? Here's
Yeah,
Oxygen,
right?
though, still in so much trouble right now. Bubble out, though, just in case. And I believe that was start a fight. Aves goes down. Rollers does trade back for Pop Rock Sam. Oxygen left in a 2v2, but this is going to be difficult because Nerf is in the area to try and get the third party, and they do. Rollers going down, start a fight, getting overly aggressive onto this one, getting absolutely punished. This is going to be Nerf getting some free kill points in just a moment.
You saw a fake, almost like a possible Valkyrie redeploy. They thought about it. The bubble was down and they were using that to heal, and then they're like, can we get away with this? Can we stay a little bit longer? So they're going to consider picking up some more kill points along the way. Now checking their back, which looks to be clear. I like the play from 4C, just making sure that everything's going to be all good. Zone starts to close. This is zone number 3, so they can't afford to sit in the zone. So as soon as this kind of hits that angle over towards right where that replicator is, he's going to turn right back around. And yep, perfect timing, great execution there from Team Nerf. I like that. You always need someone checking their back just in case someone wants to rotate around, especially in a Valkyrie meta. Now someone Sinus making their moves, and I'm rooting for Key this game. He's got a lot of kills on the board. I want to see him continue that.
Yeah, I mean, 5 assists here for Locks. Key has 9 kills, along with the 1 that I believe that they had just before. This is absolutely insane. Someone Sinus having a monstrous game here, number 3. If they can just top this one off with a +12, that'll easily put them into the top 3, top 2 even at this point. I think Start a Fight are still safely there, but right now their time is limited. I don't know if they were finished off or they still have a rat somehow surviving. The ring pulling down here towards the south is also one thing we need to talk about, and someone Sinus is in a beautiful building to hold down for this finish.
And notice how Key isn't really tossing barrels on the outside of the building. It doesn't really make sense, right? The goal is to keep people on the outside looking in, and if you're able to do that, then you're gonna force them to get shot at by enemy teams, and then you could leave your door, come out, check on them, maybe get some cleanups, maybe find an extra kill or 2 if you're lucky. But right now, it's all about just locking down this priority area. Like, there's such a good spot to be in, and it reminds me of game number 1 where they were one of the teams on that beacon building holding things down, but that building got so much action that they weren't able to hold it off. This building's a little bit larger. It's not going to see nearly as many players because there's more real estate to kind of hold, so this should be a little bit more favorable for them.
Excedrin were able to recover after what Vizio did down there on the south side. Matt Pickett ends up going down to Lux, start a fight, have been knocked out. And earlier than Matt Pickett would have liked to try to get himself at least top 5, but only gets top 8, so I believe that's 2 points for start a fight. Kimchi Lee, with being back into this game, they're going to have to work towards getting those red Evo shields for themselves. Now, this is a nice ledge for them to play off of for this ring because they've got a lot of cover here, but ultimately when they're forced out of this cover, they'll be able to move up to a fence line as well. So this is going to be a nice place for Excedrin to play to try and finish this game.
Definitely a good spot, especially considering that there's no one on the low ground here. Now, why shoot the players in the air? One of the things is to force them away from you, right? You don't want them landing on you. You know that your area is going to be pretty safe. You've already checked your surrounding area. So I love that they pushed them basically on over towards Nerf, and now you can see what Nerf's doing. They got inside of the building. They most likely were the team that was trying to rotate in very late, and that's exactly what they did. So a good job getting into another really good spot, which probably should have been vacant, but or not vacant, but because of the fact that we've had such an aggressive opening to this game, it creates a little bit more space in this final circle.
Yeah, the final circle pulling away towards the Dorito building along with that building that we saw someone sign us in, Nerf, in that last position that they were off of, keeping eyes on everything around them. You can see Promo's doing a great job with that 30-30. Just get some peeks across, try to get closer towards that Evo. He's still 400 damage off, though, with a minute to try and work with. And now they need to do something, create a path for themselves to try and get over towards that Dorito building. They do have fence lines that they can run across, but they've got multiple teams in their way right now. They do spot the Watson fences here, but as they push forward, it's going to be a free building for the time being. One player was outside of Dorito, but ends up getting back inside. Force going for that nade. I don't know if that was the optimal one, as there might have been a Watson generator in there, but they're making this easier now on their rotate. Still, they're going to have to deal with the team coming through that choke.
Doritos are trash. It's the Tyson building from now on. Just kidding. The reason it's called the Dorito building, look at how it's shaped. It's literally looking like a Dorito, but I like the thought process there coming through, right? It's a checklist of things that Team Nerf has to do. So they go to one building, that's safe. They see the Watson fences, they kind of scope that out. And you also have Seer who can get a little bit of a check on where players are. You can see that they're going to continue to try to advance and play the outside of that area. But while that's happening, Spectre does a fairly popular move, which is lock down the bottom of this. The problem with the bottom is it's not a priority position. You can see a lot of different sight lines, but Brandon's playing this perfectly.
Yeah, he throws down that Nox Gas grenade a little bit earlier, and Nerf had the similar ideas to try and play lower. Looks like Watson Jenny does eat up one of those nades, and now they're getting some connects, though, with that Thermite. 40 connect for the crack, but they're still eating all of this caustic gas. They need to take some time to try and heal up. There is a bubble for them to hit the medkits. Now is Team Nerf still contending with the squad underneath as well, but looks like they are safe for now. Turns just allowing his teammates to heal first so he can get that information, but as he backs away, it looks like they will fully stabilize here and get ready for this next one. Arcstar in, though, forces them out just for a quick second, but they are still safe for the time being. Wondering where Excedrin is throughout all of this. They should have eyes on them in just a moment, but you can see that Excedrin, they can push up to that fence line. They should be relatively safe throughout all of this, and there you go. They're going from fence line to fence line, dealing with these Arcstars, that team that's pushing out from that northwest side. That's going to be Urban going down. Kimchi Lee has the bubble for the bubble res, but that means they're not going to have a bubble when this zone starts closing in on them.
Good guy turns, using teamwork. You know, I'm definitely a secure my mask before assisting others type of guy. But, you know, turns, he's literally doing God's work there. And it's also the job of your support player to go and do that. So that's a great point that you made, Jamerson. But back on board with the team that we've all kind of had our eye on since the beginning. It's key with these 9 kills, almost 2k damage, looking so strong on this Caustic. Has plenty of cells, plenty of ammo left in this wingman car. And this is an opportunity with the zone closing on them to come through with a huge game and potentially slide up into a top 2 position, because you know that Start a Fight hasn't had the game that they were looking for. They were taken out in 8th place, like you were talking about, only getting 2 points. Valk is another team that's been popping off. Lane, with the impressive Valkyrie play overall, they take the roof of the building of where someone's Sinus is going to be. So in terms of positioning, these are the 2 teams, and the observers have done a great job of keeping their eyes on these guys, because they are in the perfect position right now.
Yeah, Valk and Someone Sinus stacked on top of each other inside of the cafeteria building, essentially here, having to deal with 2 teams across, wondering where the 5th is. Well, yeah, one's inside of the Dorito building, 2 teams underneath the Dorito building, and now that Seer ultimate comes out. All the information will be there for the Nerf squad as the push out comes, and every team focusing on them right now. Pop Rock Sam ends up going down, and Team Nerf need to restabilize here, but there's so many Arc Stars abound. You can see Turns has gone down, Force as well. Promo's just trying to wait things out, but he has been spotted. It should be challenging him, but throughout all of this, Someone Sinus just up top with now Spectre Esports getting knocked out. It's 4 squads remaining, about to be 3 as Nerf is gone. Oxygen on the other side of this stairwell here, and it's going to be Team Valk playing from top. They've got saws just tossing down barrels, and I'm wondering if that if that interception pylon was cleared out. Push out from Someone Sinus as Protectful tries his best to survive up top. Lane will take to the skies, awaiting all of that caustic gas to go down. And does he have infinite gas here in this economy with these kinds of rates? Lane looks like he will fall, and it is Someone Sinus that ends up walking away with this win here in game number 3.
That jetpack at least cost him $300 right there, easily. I don't want to watch what those prices were, especially like you said with the current state of the economy. But all jokes aside, what a performance from Someone Sinus! Holy cow, these guys are really serious about how they wanted to go and play Apex today, picking up kills along the way. They left the priority building, which was the cafeteria building, to go and kind of hunt people over towards that choke and people that were trying to rotate in from Harvester. They come right back and lock it down with the caustic barrels. And then in the end, against 2 really, really good teams that they were going up against, they were able to secure the win. And a lot of that comes down to the amount of gas that he did have in that jetpack, but also the presence of mind. You saw Protectful was directly below him. I'm not quite sure how he got so high in the air. I didn't even know you could get that high in the air.
I have no idea what he did. Breaking down one of the fights that we saw from out Excedrin early on. I mean, I'm glad that we got to see that once more. Seeing that bubble, he knows exactly how to play it. Just kites him out into it. Someone Sinus, though, oh my goodness, this has been an amazing game for them. If they don't have 30 points after this, I mean, from this game alone, I would be absolutely surprised, because they had about 13, 14 in kill points before we got to the end game there.
Right, yeah. I mean, you had 9 specifically on Caustic, and then when you looked at the way that they were able to pick up a couple kills towards the tail end, it should have been a 30 bomb, which is just the ideal situation for any one of our teams to go and pop off. And I think that the overall total after 2 games for first place was with Start a Fight was 39, if I'm not mistaken. So they got a majority of that, a large chunk of that, just in 1 game. But again, you have to give credit to the other 2 teams that were there, that they were able to eliminate. Those are such difficult zones to navigate, especially with the caustic gas, the zones closing in there. There's a lot of action. Nerf was playing that tough. I believe that was Promo staying alive underneath the building for quite some time. And then you have Oxygen, who's the masters of getting over towards these tail end zones. They got what they were looking for. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get that W. So that just makes that win that much more impressive because of the current state of what was going on in that final circle. That was a tough one to go and work through, and they were able to do so.
Yeah, that's 3 games of World's Edge done. So let's send it on over to Yesa to break down game number 3 of the day. Yesa, go ahead and take it away.
It always brings me so much joy to see those Valk players in the late circles just jetpacking as high as they can while their teammates have to deal with the chaos down below, and they drop down and, I don't know, trying to figure it out. But ultimately, Someone Sinus grabbed the win there in game 3, and they close out our first half of the day. So no more World's Edge. We head into Storm Point here real soon. Important to mention that SAF not really getting into those late circles here, which means while they had, you know, a nice little bit of a buffer between themselves and second place after 2 games, that gap is going to close, and there's going to be quite a few teams right on their heels. And Excedrin possibly, depending on how all the scores shake out, could have jumped up into first place with that performance. Of course, Nerf also getting into the top 4 or 5 here once again, continuing to put up some solid points here tonight. So that scoreboard is going to be very interesting when we head back to Jamerson and T-Squared here in a little bit. But let's take a look at our champion squad here first before we head to our Mobile One high performance moment here, our last one of World's Edge. And it was Someone Sign Us, of course, grabbing the win. Everybody contributing nicely in the damage department, but it was key with the pop off this game. 12 kills and 3 assists. The team finishes with 17 kills overall, and that is a hell of a game here from Someone Sign Us, who, through the first couple of games, kind of quietly put up some solid performances. We're getting some good points, and now they found the big pop-off one here with a 29-point showing to close out World's Edge, and that's a hell of a way to finish that one off. And this is a team that is going to be very well positioned on that Mobile One leaderboard when we go into the second half. So now we're going to have to see just how tight this race is at the top of the leaderboard going into Game 4. Let's take a look, though, at that Mobile One high performance moment here, and it's probably going to be this late game, and it will be. So, you have Valk up on the high ground here, and you can see Lane just trying to hit as high as possible. And ultimately, it doesn't work out, so we just get a top-down view of the chaos here with Oxygen and Someone Sign Us battling it out here at the end. And ultimately, Lane drops down, starts to finally take that zone damage, and Someone Sign Us were just able to hold on just long enough to grab the victory there. So it's kind of hard to get a good read on what happened here, but ultimately, really, Someone Sign Us just benefiting. They had the low ground here, and often, you want the high ground for those sight lines, for those positionings, but ultimately, they were able to stay in cover for such a long time, whereas Oxygen and Valk were poking away at each other, and that just meant that Someone Sign Us come out with much healthier health bars there. And when it comes down to, a quote-unquote heal-off in that end zone, they benefit from that. So well played from Someone Sign Us, and they certainly had a big pop-off performance there. Before we go to a break, though, do want to tell you about something new we are doing at Esports Arena locations all across the country, and it's called PvE. Now, we love to run big tournaments just like Series E here, which we do every week, but we know some of you don't have the time really to commit 3 or 4 hours to a full bracket. You can't sit down and play 6 full games of Apex, so we want to give you some esports competition and a little bit more bite-sized pieces, and PvE is exactly that. The way it works is you can go out to your local esports arena today, and you can compete in 4 different leaderboards every single week, each with their own $500 prize pool. All you have to do, go to your local esports arena, purchase some tokens, enter in the leaderboards, and just put up your best scores. We switch up the games and modes every single week, so things are always fresh and new, but you can go and compete in things like Mario Kart, Aim Labs, Valorant, Halo Infinite, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Home Run Derby, all kinds of awesome games every single week. You can keep track of your scores online. If you check our YouTube channel, we have a 24/7 stream that keeps track of all of our leaderboards every single week. So make sure to use exclamation point locations in Twitch chat right now. Go out and compete. The leaderboards run from Wednesday all the way through Sunday every single week. We have Fizzy, meanwhile, in Studio White, testing out one of the titles that you can compete in. A little bit of Aim Labs here from one of our PAs in the studio, and 4 seconds left. Pretty solid score here. Looking to hit 60K right at the end. Just gonna come up short there, just south of 59,000. So if you want to go out, you think you can beat Fizzy's score and grab you some cash, remember $500 for each leaderboard. Head out to your local esports arena today and compete in some PvE. We're going to a break right now. When we come back, we head over to Storm Point. We got plenty more Apex action when we return.
Listen up. Esports should be for everyone. That's why Esports Arena's launched our own tournament series called Player vs. Everyone, where you get to compete at multiple different titles, multiple different locations, whenever you want. Just watch this and check it out. I believe we have the best Apex Legends PvE player. Oh, I think he's supposed to break in the record. Best Apex Legends player in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Whoa, whoa, Tyler, hold up a second. We got someone out here in Salt Lake about to smash the record. What'd I tell you? Salt Lake City every time.
PvE has something for everyone. Here in Miami, we absolutely crush it at Mario Kart. Coming to the final part. Oh, there we go. And that's going to be the top score for the day. See if you can beat that on the leaderboard.
The day's not over yet, Luke. Here at Esports Arena Cincinnati, we have somebody who's going to beat the Mario Kart record. So close. But the good news is you can always try again.
That's PvE in a nutshell. So find your nearest Esports Arena because it could be you atop the leaderboard. See you later.
When the chicken is this crispy and this tasty, it doesn't matter what else is for dinner. Tyson crispy strips are so delicious, they'll be your favorite part of every meal. More crispy chicken, more family faves, more to love. Tyson.
I'm fading!
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
All right, welcome back to Series E. Our first half is done. World's Edge is out of the way. We're moving on to Storm Point. But before we do, let's check in with the Mobile One leaderboard to see where all of our teams stand. And somehow, someone Sinus find themselves in first place. An absolutely monstrous game number 3 is going to dethrone, start a fight after 3 games.
Definitely. You said somehow, and I was like, Jamerson, you know how, man. We just watched some play game number 3, right? And if you guys just are joining us, well, they dropped an absolute monster performance. I mean, I was so impressed with the way they were able to do that. But look at this. Our non-partnered teams, Jamerson, are just coming through and dominating the first 3 spots.
Yeah. Remember, at the end of the game number 1, it was someone sign us, start a fight, and Spectre Esports in the top 3. Now it's someone sign us and start a fight in the top 2, but Spectre Esports have not fallen that far away down there in 5th place. For our partnered squads, though, in the top 5, we only have Excedrin and Tyson just trailing behind there in 6th place with 23 points, but it has not been the best of days for teams like Nerf, Intel, and Team Razor, unfortunately, who Team Razor are currently sitting at 4 points, but hopefully the change on over to Stormpoint might be the shot in the arm that they need.
No doubt about it. It could be. And it's going to be nice to get a new wave of zones that were coming through. Start a Fight definitely was getting favorable zones throughout all of that. Majority of pulling on over towards the east side of the map where they land over towards geysers. So that was something that was able to help them with their points and secure a little bit more placements too along the way. I just look forward to seeing Stormpoint again because this is something that we've seen the adaptation of throughout Apex, and these players have been able to play it a lot during this split that just got closed out earlier today. So we should see some more, I guess, high-level play on Stormpoint, and getting a cast and learn more about Stormpoint is something that I'm always looking forward to.
Yeah, and we're going straight in, and you know, there weren't too many big changes other than the armories coming in, because the overall geography of the map basically stayed the same, with the exception, of course, the addition of the downed beasts. So teams didn't have to make as many adjustments, but really are able to utilize whatever drop spots that they had gotten earlier on. But here we go. Joining on board with Team Start a Fight. We're currently in our second place spot, as it looks like they're taking something quite centralized in this on Stormpoint here, very similar to what they were doing, you know, even though they were a little bit more eastern on World's Edge. But again, this is a composition that someone signed us now will be able to utilize extremely well, as they are down by that antenna side.
Love watching these new players make, well, not new players, to me they're new, they've been playing Apex for a while if they're going to be this talented, but new to Series E, and also just completely coming through with monster games goes to show you that they're serious about, one, getting signed, two, about being in Series E. And I think that if you're a team like Razor, if you're one of these teams on the outskirts of the top threes, we see where the zone's going to be pulling, heavily favoring over towards High Point and Lightning Rod. But you are concerned that this is a team that's coming for your spot, man. Someone sign us is looking like it's going to be signed by one of the partnered teams going forward, and I wouldn't be mad at all because they've been playing at a really high level totally. But Fearless is taking a lot of damage. Impulse goes down. Now it's up to Mooney. Nice job getting that gold armor and hitting an immediate reset. I love the bubble play here because this is going to force a lot of action, and then Fearless is going to go and throw that grab lift over towards the door, which means he can cut off this separate angle right here. Great job getting Impulse potentially back in this one, but no, the angles and the flanks came around. That was an opportunity to go and get that res. They back off, though, to go and elect to fight. And now they have a 2-on-2 situation with this gold armor. Why not, right? You have Fearless, who's just an absolute monster. And he's going to go and push in. This Valkyrie is almost getting embarrassed. That's going to be Rio. And you do not want to give this man an opportunity to go and heal. Great use of the knockdown shields in R3G. Well, they feel the wrath of one of our partner teams here. That's Team Intel getting the better of him. Great job by R3G, though. They almost had him, had Impulse off guard and had him on the ropes for a second there, Jameson.
The Seer definitely threw them off, right? Going for that bubble res, but having it interrupted by that Seer Q definitely threw them off. But it would have just made it that much easier for Team Intel just to finish that one off. But right now, as we join on board with Team Valk, they find themselves in an early fight as well. Saz is ready to go in for that infiltrate. He's got that Arc Star ready to try and get the stick. Does not connect with it, but Miles will have an opportunity at one of his own. They might just be waiting on this scan as the Gibraltar covers that door. Lane now trying to find a flank here from those windows. Maybe he gets an angle from the rooftop. He's going to try and take that for the time being. Tense situation here as we have fights up across the board, and there it is. Lane gets the knock, the one clip onto Loro. Now it's a 3v2, and now the swap around as they take the stairway entrance in, pushing in through. The barrels are there, slowing things down just a little bit. But that Nox gas grenade is going to force back Valk. Lane goes down. Knight ends up taking him out. Now Valk fighting into a 2v2. Scan out, third party coming in, and Valk has to get out of there.
Tough break with the third party coming in because you want to watch that 2v2 take place. It was such a fun fight up until someone decided that they want to do the right play, and that's coming in with the third party. But everyone really playing this the right way, right? Backing off. D-Res comes through. That was a team trying to play spoiler over here. Now what you can do is watch this kind of take place, which is a 3-on-2 situation. They get the res, so it's a 3-on-3 up over here. You know that you've lost out on Lane. Has Lane been able to crawl away, or did he get thirsted? I can't remember, but looks like they are kind of maneuvering over there to potentially get a res, and pings are going to go down. So maybe Valk's going to be the team that does the third partying after being the initial team that had to back off.
Scan out, and now they're going to turn around on this third party here. D-Res took some decent amount of shield damage. We'll see if they can go ahead and get that quick armor swap, but it looks like You're going to go ahead and go for that entry once more. Bats have been finished off, but D-Res has not been able to heal up himself. Bubble out as he was getting tagged from outside. Going to be Klitzy taking that knock onto Miles now, turning things around once more. D-Res surviving the third-party attempt here. They should be able to secure this thirst as well as the scan comes out once again. But D-Res doing a great job of just stabilizing here. They're going to maintain roof control now with this defensive bombardment. We're going to go ahead and join on board with Vizio, who are down here at Fish Farms. Might have a team underneath them. Never mind, just behind. But Sung is ready to turn around onto them and just goes full barrel into that black hole as he dropped down to 1 HP. But he gives them the slip. Swaps out with Borden here for trade in damage. Sung heals as his teammate covers him for now. Farmer Luke is finally now joining in for that fight. But you can see they're coming in from either side of this building. Born with that arc star just to force them out of their cover. Backs away, gets another bubble out here as he's just covering that bubble for the time being. Team Vizio slowly trying to pick apart this squad. Farmer Luke is coming in from the other side of the building here. They do not have roof. It doesn't matter. You can see leave no witnesses, end up losing out on Zilach. Sung, even though he takes a lot of damage, he's still in the thick of things. Panic is able to get the trade back, but it's just a matter of time now as Vizio attacks from either side. Panic will fall, leaving only one remaining. And even though it was a little bit close, Team Vizio come up with the +3.
That was really close. Nice job by Leave No Witnesses trying to take down one of our other partners' squads, but Team Vizio is a very, very talented team. They also had the jump on that fight, right? Great angles being taken by Sung, I believe. Now you can see Razor is getting out of dodge. And it looks like they're staying consistent, I believe, with their previous team composition. And I really think that, Jamerson, this is really key to any type of success for all of our squads. If you are running through and changing your legends over and over again, it's not going to really work. Stick with something, see how it goes. And if you're going to stick with something, you might as well go with something that's completely meta. And that's this Valkyrie, Gibby, Watson composition. Now they've found themselves securing at least one placement point. Let's see if they can continue to rack up those placement points and maybe some kills on the board. I would love to see them take an opportunity to where all of our other partnered teams are kind of struggling today to get on the board and try to play catch up.
Intel versus Vizio here as Intel continuing to try and run through the map. They've got them actually isolated out, running across, and now Fearless takes to the skies with that grab lift. Got the black hole ready. Might get the connect onto two, but he doesn't have any throwables behind it. Should keep them in place, though. They do end up backing away. The Arc Star actually just falling a little bit short there, unfortunately. But now Team Intel, they've got to be careful. Mooney's taking a lot of damage from the ring, and he needs to hit that med kit. But you can see the pressure that Impulse and Fearless are applying onto them means that the enemy side, Team Vizio, have to worry about that health as well. Fearless taking the moment to hit that med kit and will go for the challenge in just a moment. Vizio are trying to top off themselves. You can see how difficult these fights outside of the ring can be. Looks like one bat might have been used there. Fearless gets actually abducted by an enemy gravity lift from inside. Now it's going to be a little bit difficult to continue this push here as, again, both sides have to top off for these fights, but I think Vizio might have just done enough to force Intel back.
It's also just, again, an opportunity to check the might of the enemy team, right? And that's what they're thinking. They're like, let's see how talented they are. Once they saw a couple of great plays, mainly I'd be terrified at Farmer Lucas's 40-yard dash, because did you see how fast he was moving when he was underneath the fish farms area? And then all of a sudden he like climbs up and then he hits that slide that you can do whenever you're hitting a ledge. You can just boost off of that and get that extra speed boost. That's exactly what Farmer Lucas was able to do. So now they're so far from the zone and they need to focus on going into the next ring that they're just kind of showing respect for one another. They're going to try to fight a little bit later as they make their way on over towards the zone.
I mean, both of them are basically about to run out of white meds here. You can see they are still not safe within the zone quite yet. Fearless is about to use one of his 2 med kits here. Luckily for him, they can top off on just being able to stack syringes on him overall with that gold armor. But you have to imagine that Team Intel are going to be running low on heals overall, along with Team Vizio. So both teams might have to commit to a fight here to try and top off once again.
Nerf's going to take to the skies. We've seen a lot of redeploys going through. This time it's going to be a scan onto zone number 3, and hopefully for them, picking a building that isn't occupied. Thought maybe they would go for the wall bounce there to immediately land and avoid any type of shots, but you could see pings going down over towards both buildings, right? This building is in, so it's about clearing this out, but if this is cleared, then you want the other building because it's a little bit more into the zone and you're not forced to just be on the stores. So we do get the player outlines and the luxury of seeing where all of the enemy squads are. Nerf is just doing their due diligence, checking, making sure all of their T's are crossed and I's are dotted. See Davis with some nice shots.
As long as they have control of both of those buildings, they'll be able to utilize like a ring number 4 Valkyrie ultimate relatively safe. We know with the Valkyrie nerfs that a lot of teams have been shot out of the sky because of the lack of mobility that you have now once you're stuck in that animation, but they should be able to at least avoid a good few seconds of the initial animation because of the coverage they'll have from the buildings, and eventually make their way into Lightning Rod, which it looks like this ring is continuing to pull into, with that ring 3 pulling pretty heavily over towards this side. For Team Tyson, though, they are happy to be here, even though they don't have the ring information. They can slow play this one out and respond to the ring that's coming out. For FRC, though, they've got a fight ahead of them. They're heading for Flesh with that missile storm, and Relay, you can see, instantly wants to chase after them.
No doubt about it. And you also saw from the top right of your screen that there's a Newcastle in play. And now Stabby's going to go down. I believe that was the player that they had the entire time. Big shots with the R9 there. Purple Mag looking for some more damage onto the Seer player over towards the side. Team Frenzy, they go out in 14th place. What a collapse. Great shots from FRC. Zero room for error for the enemy team right there. And I don't even know if there was anything they could have done, because once that initial burst comes down, once you're going against these talented teams, they just immediately take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, and if they were running low on meds or anything else, they've got that Thunder Watch replicator to utilize as well. So it looked like everything was fresh up for them, so they'll be able to get a lot of credits, a lot of medkits, a lot of batteries now. So they are absolutely set up. This is what is this fence line Kovsky's working with here? I believe there's like 2 nades right underneath them there. Maybe he's just placing it down to get the charges a little bit faster. I don't know. Here's Team Excedrin, though, working their way out in from the southeast side. Defensive bombardment has been utilized. Urban keeping them contained. Now the black hole goes in, and he's got the stars. You can see Cruisin holding that angle from the south just to try and keep them down, but doesn't look like anyone was caught in that singularity, and Cruisin now just isolated by himself. This is a scary situation to be in, and he's taking so much damage. He needs help. It looks like they might have been able to get a knock. Missile swarm in. Multiple teams starting to show up here. It's Farmer Lucas getting the knock onto Relay. Excedrin picks up one onto Sushi. And beautiful recovery out from Excedrin with the help of this third party coming in from behind.
I'm about to send an email to Hideouts. This guy's cheating. Kimchi Lee. Sus plays with the bow. Just kidding. Dude's been a monster for quite some time, and man, that is just sexy bow work right there. Amazing plays from him, and I mean, there's really nothing that you can do because you're silently getting hit for 60 across the map. Then you look over there, and it's just Kimchi Lee ready to just lay down some serious hurting. He doesn't even toss his defensive bombardment. He's completely confident in his shots. You know that there's Watson fences around, so there has to be a generator there too. So picking up that extra damage and kills is huge for their squad. Now we're on board with Vizio, who's every time you switch to one of these players, they're just laying down great fire across the map. Look at the wingman shots there from Borton, able to connect for multiple 40s and 41s there. But it's all about suppressing fire so you can hit your redeploy here very soon. So they're trying to just pick up some extra kills along the way, eliminate squads that are going to be rotating parallel to them, and then they're going to have to find their way on over towards the zone, because I don't know if they want to hoof it all the way down there in the middle of the road, right? This is an opportunity to possibly hit that bubble and then go, or you save your bubble and then make your way for the redeploy. But they have such great cover from this rock. I don't know why they don't just use that one. I guess the pings are a secondary option, but I feel like with the way that they're located on this giant platform, you might as well use the giant rock there, use that as cover, and then redeploy.
Yeah, hard pull over towards Lightning Rod there. And it was Excedrin that was on the other side of this fight. FRC still up. That Fruit Ninja is alive. He's trying to rat this one out, but looks like Vizio might be on the hunt for him. Or maybe they're just picking up the remnants of the loot that is over there. They have not spotted him yet, and honestly, it doesn't look like they're really trying to hunt for him. Just keeping an eye, making sure that no one is around. But for the time being, Fat Fruit Ninja is counting his lucky stars that he is still alive and keeping his team into things. Taking a look at the teams that are currently in the zone, though. Tyson, along with Oxygen, both squads that we are expecting to be able to pull up there. Now teams start a fight, though, as they make their way into this building. They've lost out on Rollers. Arcstar is going to force Aves to slide in. That's going to be Glitzy taking that knock onto Aves, and now it's only Matt Pickett alive, unfortunately, for team start a fight. As we've got a third party coming in, though. This might be what start a fight need to try and survive. We'll see if anyone can climb out, though. Nerf coming in for the cleanup on through the rest of them. Aves getting finished off, thirsted there. And now Team Nerf are going to be the beneficiaries of this entire fight.
I'm glad to see that Turns is rocking the Horizon here instead of playing on Seer. I really feel like he's done such a great job on Horizon. One of the reasons that they were able to secure their spot in the Series E in the first place has been on the back of a majority of his Horizon plays. So watching him play one of his strongest legends here on Stormpoint is going to be really exciting for our Series E fans. Now Intel is looking like they are trying to put some hurting down on the other squads too. That was Vizio going out in 11th place. Start a fight. Matt Pickett was able to live temporarily, like you said, Jamerson. Maybe an opportunity to go and get some reses, but you saw his teammates were being taken out left and right by the third parties that were coming in. But this is the slow, methodical push from Team Intel, and you do not want to be in the way of them, because look at what they're doing. They still have the gold armor on Fearless, but also they have perfect weapons for fighting. Wingman Car is going to be really strong in any type of situation. They have extra loot over towards the backhand side. You still have Impulse with his redeploy, so if they need to bubble and get on out of there, they will be able to do that. But great job from Team Intel, staying alive and picking up kills along the way.
Yeah, unfortunately for Team Valk there, they were just a two-man trying to fight up against Team Intel, which is just not something you can do easily. Team Tyson trying to shoot that Valk team out of the sky, but it looks like they'll be able to get in safely. But take a look at how much space is just being held with Tyson because you've got this Watson. Oxy giving me a little bit of scare there. I thought he might actually fall off the map, but he's gonna be safe. He's on that Valk, and he'll be able to rejoin with his squad and just naturally regen his shields throughout that. Doesn't actually need to back up, but it looks like he's not going to take that. He has plenty of cells, so he can just slow heal that one and not leave himself in a vulnerable spot, surprisingly enough. But right now, Team Tyson, this might be one of their best games of the day so far, making top 9. They've got a kill point. We'll see if they can get a little bit more here.
And I definitely think that there's a huge difference with the way that you look at a squad that is more or less newly formed, right? Tyson, while they've been a team for maybe a couple months, that happens on a map that is fairly new too, right? There's going to be different thought processes because they've had so many different teams on how to play World's Edge. But when you're a new team being formed and there's still a meta being formed on a map like Stormpoint, you can all kind of sit together and be like, all right, this is how we're going to play it. We're going to get in towards the end zone. And it's been great to see them put it together here. Now Nerf in a tough spot. Look how much force he's taken so much damage. Valk actually gets eliminated on your screen. You can see they found a nice job. Great ping is going over towards the side. Somehow, some way, they all live, and they're going to be able to heal around the corner. Meanwhile, 3 teams while they were in the air were eliminated.
Wow, that's going to be DSO 0, one of them going down. 7 full squads remaining now as round 4 finishes closing. We are now into round number 5. I thought they might have been looking to drop into that TSM spot that we saw just a few months ago. Here's Team Razor. Now trying to clear out the south side. They've got a team underneath them, a team above them, or at least a player above them. And Horizon's going to go ahead and rejoin their squad. Low nades going now for the peek outs, and you can see they want to try and clear this one out. This is their only path to victory. That's Impulse going down. Team Razor coming with a huge knock, but Team Intel answer back. Mooney taking out Macintosh there. Razor, though, playing the 2v2, and the hit for Flash. Fearless has fallen. It's a 1v2 now. We'll see how much Mooney has left in the tank. He does get one more knock, though. Nade's falling here. He backs away, Box of Tea, swapping off onto a white armor. Not the greatest, as he wants to try and secure a thirst, but there's purple knockdown shields everywhere. It's going to be nearly impossible for him. Mooney coming back.
Wow.
113, full connect. The 28 to finish it off. Team Intel survive and get the gold bag res. With 20 seconds to go, the zone closing. They have a free path now to start rotating in.
I love the way Boxa T was playing that one, but he just overextended a little bit, and Mooney completely punishing that one. You have a red armor going up against gray armor. It's very hard to beat a Gibraltar in a 1v1 no matter what, too, especially when you're playing Watson. So I really like the thought process from Boxa T, but once Mooney got behind the pillar and was able to heal, not only that, but the annoying knockdown shield usage from the rest of the players allowing him to not get that armor swap was really, really big, because then you're looking at a purple or a red armor instead of the gray armor. Plus, you know that you're going to be able to not going to be able to get a res this late into the game. So all the things that they needed to do correctly coming into play right there. Now we're on board with Tyson, who needs to do something, right? They're in the zone, but they're getting focused down with a lot of different things. The defensive bombardment is going to be landing. You have Z Davis with the pylon, which is great for them. Meanwhile, they toss in their own defensive bombardment and get the cracks. Joey Blackout says, you know what? You're not rocking Watson. We're going to punish this one. They have the bubble, which most likely is going to come down right around this corner, too.
Well, Joey's got to be careful of his own nade there. Toss it at his feet, and another player tries to come up. That Gibraltar instantly getting challenged as Kimchi Lee with the arc star getting the knock onto Z Davis. Tyson might have overextended as Joey Blackout does end up getting the res onto Z Davis, bringing him back up, but they need to back away. You can see Excedrin now pushing up. That's cruising, getting the knock onto Oxy Aries. Team Tyson now down to 2 as Z Davis does survive and back away. Joey Blackout trying to swap away, but it's going to be Urban picking up that Nog, and Tyson just scrambling to survive, and Excedrin just hopping right on top of them, gets the fade away. Tyson has been eliminated. We're now down to 5 squads remaining. Excedrin with full rooftop access. They've even got, I believe, an interception pylon to play off of, courtesy of Team Tyson.
It's a good learning experience from Team Tyson. They were also shooting that pylon, and I thought they were going to take it out, but then they realized, wait, this is our pylon. We can use this one a little bit later. And all advantages now to Team Excedrin. That's a tough break because Tyson, they waited so long to get into that position. All of a sudden, one minor mistake, which was a little bit of an overextension, comes back to biting them. Meanwhile, Nerf taking a fight on over towards the side. They're going to be able to eliminate Team Intel, which is not an easy feat to do, but they need to get 4C back into this one. We'll see what the plan is for turns. Now they're not gonna have time to hit that res, or will they? Zone is slowly moving in. Can they hit him with a couple of punches instead? Turns is gonna use his knockdown shield to continue to advance on the map, and also laying down some damage onto Pop Rock. Sam has an armor swap if he wants to go and hit that one. Looks like it's empty though, so instead of going for the med, he's gonna go for the syringe, understanding that if he gets hit with this zone even once, he's going to end up going down. But what a great job. Talk about using your teammate's knockdown shield. This has been a slow and methodical push from turns.
Yeah, and this is just going to be an easy finish for Excedrin. They got the win in game number 2, and they're just lining all their ducks up in a row here to get the finishes, but they need to secure the kills. They need more kills. Kovsky gets the knock onto Kimchi Lee, and oh no, Excedrin end up throwing away a win. Cruising.
Wow.
Now the only one up, Oxygen, could go ahead and push up this elevator shaft to take Roof now away from them. Oxygen now on the verge of taking this win away from Excedrin.
Or will it be turns?
Here comes Protect Full. Cruisin' can't get the knock. He gets challenged by 2. He will be able to get 1 knock onto Protect Full. Kubsky versus Promos for a 1v1 at the end here. We'll find out in
turns is
just
still up.
a moment. Kubsky is able to get that armor swap. Promos is there, and now it's Promos going for the challenge, but Turns is here. He's got the full red armor. Kubsky trying to fight back, and he survives. Oxygen with the 1v2 at the end there. Kubsky coming up clutch for his team.
The Mozambique just slapping him right there. Holy cow. That's why you play the game. Oxygen taking down Excedrin, who, like you said, threw away that win. And then Turns using the amazing knockdown shield. Was he using Promo's knockdown shield the entire time? I think he was, and then ended up rezzing him or something like that. They get up there. He hits the grav lift. Maybe he hit the zip line. I'm not quite sure if he was able to even get in over towards there, but he somehow gets the high ground. And then they ended up losing that 2 versus 1. Wow. Oxygen has found themselves in the final circles here a couple of times. Now they're finally able to execute, but that's what they do, right? That's the play style that they've been looking for. They're always trying to learn in these final moments and able to execute on our first map here after switching away from World's Edge. That was just great execution with the Mozam.
Yeah, 3 years of competitive Apex, and Kupski really never moved away from that style. They tried on teams that he's been on in the past to play a little bit more aggressively, but every time they kind of just default back to playing basically day one Apex, where you just rotate early on, play center zone. And eventually those points add up. Those placement points add up over time. The 5, 6, or the 5, 7, 9 that you're able to slowly accrue will help you out. After game number 4, they get the win finally. But we have to talk about it. Excedrin, they had the spot, they had the numbers, they had the high ground.
They had everything. There were so many different platforms and areas that they could have used, but I think, again, turns being so annoying by following that knockdown shield was key. And once they saw that turns was really vulnerable, they dropped down and tried to pick those kills up, but he just did such a good job of, again, using that almost as like a turtle shell. He's just like popping in, popping back out, and then that allowed Oxygen to kind of reset, evaluate the situation. Kupski says, send me the clip. Well, guess what, man? You're getting that clip. 1,000%. That was an amazing ending. And like you said, they haven't really changed their play style. It's worked for them in the past, but you know that they're individually talented. They can win fights. They showcased it right there.
Yeah, so congratulations to Team Oxygen for taking the win there in game number 4. Yay, so we'll go ahead and break down that last game for you. Our first game on Stormpoint. We got 2 more left to go right after this.
T-Squad, I think annoying is the perfect way to describe just how Nerf has been today. They've really been a thorn in the side of the lobby in all 4 games so far, and they've yet to get the win, but they continue to get into these late circles. They continue to be, they have their fingerprints all over these late fights, and it's why, despite not grabbing that win, they are well within the mix here for a win tonight. Now, we'll have to see if they can get over the hump in the final 2 games, because it probably will require a win in at least one of these final 2 games to finish at the top of our Mobile One leaderboard. But at the very least, Nerf doing a good job. They're putting points up on the board, and it has them, right in the thick of things here with just 2 games remaining. Now, let's take a look, of course, at our champion squad here. It was Oxygen coming out of the absolute chaos there in the late circle. Of course, Excedrin were probably hoping for a win there, but they aren't going to get it this time around. Well played, though, from the team. Kupski grabs 4 kills here. Protectful leads in terms of damage, and it's not a huge game here from Oxygen, but still 18 points, nothing to sneeze at with that performance from the team. And they have been kind of so close, yet haven't been able to get it done through the first half. And finally here, as we head to Stormpoint, they're able to get it done. And this is a squad of veterans, right? Kupski and Protectful. They've been competing, especially in the Tier 2 scene for a very long time. They've got a wealth of experience in the Apex competitive scene. And this Oxygen squad, still some work to do in terms of taking those steps to the next level. But Kupski and Protectful, who I know very well, looking solid here. And Pop Rock Sam, of course, shoring up the squad here in game number 4. Let's take a look, though, at our Mobile One high performance moment. Something tells me Kupski's going to want a look at this one, because I think this is the clip that he was looking for. Of course, cruising after both of his teammates going down, unable to stay alive as Oxygen chase him down. And with Protectful going down, now it's up to Kupski here for the clutch. Has the R301, has the Mozam, and those are all the tools that he needs. Stepping out from behind the knock shield to get that one, and then so close here at the end, using the Mozam, runs out of ammo, but it doesn't matter. The melee able to finish it off. Well played, and just, great usage of the knockdown shield. It's, certainly a small skill, right? It's not it's not something as crazy as your aim, rotations, things like that, but it's just being able to kind of time the crouches, peek at the right time here against these players is certainly important when you get into these late circles and you have that little bit of an advantage. It's just, cover here for Kupski, and it works out so well. Oxygen grabbing the win, and Kupski, that's definitely, definitely one you're gonna want to keep. I look forward to seeing that one up on Twitter here later tonight. Right now, though, we're gonna go to a break. When we come back, we'll get another look at that Mobile One leaderboard and see just how tight things are getting at the top of our standings. But don't go far, folks. We'll be right back.
When the chicken is this crispy and this tasty, it doesn't matter what else is for dinner. Tyson crispy strips are so delicious, they'll be your favorite part of every meal. More crispy chicken, more family faves, more to love. Tyson.
Now, even the biggest headaches are toast.
Excedrin keeps your head in the game.
For no more throbbing noggins.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
For nothing, baby. Let's get in there.
Welcome back to Series E in game number 4, our first game on Stormpoint. It was Oxygen that ended up with the win. Excedrin had a high finish though, so hopefully that helps them in the leaderboard. Let's check in with the Mobile 1 leaderboard to see where everything stands. We have a really tight top grouping basically up there at the top. Someone sign us. Now with the 7-point lead up against Start a Fight, but Excedrin move into 3rd place with 43. Valk is there with 40 points in 4th, and Oxygen with that 17-point win, I believe it was 17, might have been 16, put themselves in 5th place with 39. So well within reach of someone sign us. 2 more good games, Oxygen can easily move into 1st place.
Should get bonus points for winning 2v1s at the end of games, like an extra. Well, I'm gonna give them an extra 5 kudo points there. So great job from Kubsky. I want to highlight again what he was able to do, Jamerson, because watching that clip back, you get a real great appreciation for what was going on. He ran out of R301 ammo. He goes through and he loots the box to be able to pick that back up, and then he ends up having to reload his Mozam. So while all of that's happening, he's running out of ammo for both of his weapons. Like Yeso was saying, he had to go for the melee there because there's just not enough time to reload that Mozambique. So everything that you needed to do, Kubsky was able to do. Not only that, he wasn't even full health the entire time. He was still missing a chunk of his HP.
Yeah, you're looking at like 1.2, 1.5 seconds reloads on either gun there, and in that time you can get 2 melees off. That's 60 damage. So 100% you go for the melees instead of trying to even swap off. Picking up, I believe he had about 10 shots left, maybe 5 shots left in that R301. It just wasn't worth that time. I think he might have had a little bit left actually, but anyhow, doesn't matter. He gets that win. It's not the most beautiful win in the world, right? They only got about 5 kill points. It all basically coming towards at the end of the game there, but it's a win regardless, and it's them doing what they do best, which is playing towards the late game, getting those placement points. Overall, time and again, game after game after game, puts them well within reach of 1st place, only about 15, 16 points off from 1st place. They can do that with 2 more games, but here we go. Heading into game number 5 of Stormpoint. Let's join on board with Oxygen to see where they end up dropping here on Stormpoint.
I love the way that Kubsky executed that. Man, that was great job from him. And hopefully we get some more endings like that in game number 5 and game number 6, because that was super, super exciting. But I know Excedrin is kicking themselves because of the mistakes they made. Tyson definitely kicking themselves because of the mistakes they made. A lot of action, a lot of 50-50s taking place. Spectre Esports, you brought this up, that they were in 2nd place after game number 1. They're looking to get back into this one. Brandon, one of our talented open players here, he goes down first. Noodle goes down second. Now it's up to Gordo, but Leave No Witnesses. We have some Leave No Witnesses fans in the chat. I know that they were getting hyped about this start. They're going to be dominating the fish farms area.
Yeah, they're playing this one extremely close to the vest here. They got to be careful. We're on pretty low HP. Team Intel once again at Barometer are going to be able to take out Team R3G once again. Challenging Team Intel off drop at Barometer is not something you really want to do, but Team Intel will gladly take the +3 for themselves. We'll see if they do the same thing that they did in game number 4, rotating to the south side, try to push up the fish farms, try to find a fight there. Right now, their loot not looking the greatest. We do have Team Valk now looting up here on the south side of the map. Their loot getting better and better. There we go. Triple blues now across the board for them. As should be able to take a moment. Never mind. We might have another fight once again. Team Valk. It's going to be the same fight that they had in game number 4.
Taking a look at the zone. I think that's team start a fight. That's in a pretty good position right here with their land on over towards this Cascade Falls. We also have Oxygen, who's loving what they see. Pop Roxham is almost directly where this zone potentially is going to continue to pull over towards that northwest side of Stormpoint. But you also have other teams to watch out for, right? Look at Nerf. They're in the area. Kim Chile cruising and Urban can end up collapsing. A lot of kill opportunities for a team like Team Intel, right? You look at where Fearless, Mooney, and Impulse are, and you can see all the rotations that have to come in next to them. We'll see how far they can advance and where they decide that they want to gatekeep.
All right, now it looks like we might have our first knock of this fight as Team Valk actually picks up one. It's a 3v2 now down here. That's Cenote Cave. They're trying to make their way on in. The Caustic Barrel slowing things down, but Valk has slowly been clearing them out, and now they've got a free kill there. Loro pushing out with the bubble by himself. Will get thirsted off. Now there's just one player remaining. It's this final Caustic here for Team Valk. Should be able to finish him off. No problem. Saw is just taking all of that gas. They just swap away. The door is closed on him. There we go. Undialed. Knocked out. We're now down to 17 squads. Team Valk this time having a much easier fight.
I apologize, Undialed. I definitely jinxed you guys and cursed you guys before everything started, man. That is completely my bad. Vizio, Borton is, I don't think he's a fan of the driver here. I'm sorry, Sung. Apparently you are just, too wild for him. 0 Uber rating stars for you. Borton's going to decide that he wants to put this one back on over towards the Fish Farms area where I don't know what the play is here. I mean, is there still a team back here? Is that Leave No Witnesses not leaving their landing spot quite yet? It looks like they did find them. What an aggressive play from Vizio.
Yeah, it looks like they might have been baited by the Replicator to stick around here and try to use the Crafters, and Vizio are able to take advantage of that. They've got them cornered now. There's almost no retreat for this squad. There's no safe angle to try and hit the Valkyrie ultimate. And yeah, Vizio again, if they end up getting to a prolonged fight here, Intel could do that same swap, that same rotation down here to the south side to come in for the third party up against Vizio.
Vizio has to be careful here. They're going to have to take this fight fairly quickly. And it really comes down to Sung and Farmer Lucas. Like, Borton can try to entry frag here, but you need Sung really to make his way in there with the Gravlift and eventually the Black Hole. So we'll see how they decide that they want to get past this area, because all this open area, Jamerson, almost requires a bubble. And once you take that bubble down, it's going to be on a long respawn, which means the third party can potentially come through. Nice 40 damage there from Farmer Lucas. That could be an opportunity to go advance. But look at the discipline and the respect that they're showing Leave No Witness. Even after that initial burst, they're not going to run out into the middle of the open. So I really like how both these teams are playing. I think that Leave No Witness sitting in the back over here is the right play. They're trying to get the armor checks. They're trying to figure out exactly where these players are located. Now they have the shields broken. This could be the opportunity they're looking for. I love this play. Farmer Lucas is going to toss this one, but again, they're going to need the bubble to move forward in this open area.
Yeah, the defensive bombardment might be enough. Ooh, he gets a crack, but he gets tagged from the right-hand side. Team Vizio. That allows Born actually to push up, and that was the opening that they were looking for, holding onto the bubble for as long as possible. And it's going to be Borton now with that rooftop control. He's making his way on in, just like you wanted. He needs someone else somehow to come in. Oh, with the 3v1 peek. He's got to be careful. Unfortunately, they miss out on that. Black Hole doesn't get through the window. Borton on the timing was just very unfortunate. Now, Leave No Witnesses fighting into a 3v2. Vizio, what can they do here? Farmer Lucas goes for that window peek. Sung will try his hand at it next. They push into that building very shortly. They've lost out on roof control, though, and Sung gets instantly taken out. Panic picks that one up. Farmer Lucas, the only one alive in a 1v3. He will get taken out. Leave No Witnesses with 2 team fight wins here in the early game.
And Start a Fight gets taken out early, too. Vizio's gone. a lot of our top teams being taken out of this lobby here to start with very little, if any, placement points being picked up. Now, as you mentioned, Borton with the unlucky timing, but you have to give credit to Leave No Witnesses. It's a 3-on-1 situation. 2 players can kick the door at the same time, and then that's free shots by the 3rd player. Not only that, you have to immediately collapse on that advantage. They did not hesitate at all, Jamerson. They made that decision so quickly, and Borton just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, you could see Born. You saw the moment where he regretted his life choices. As soon as he heard that melee, you saw him trying to pull the quick 180, but there was no time for him to really respond there. Excedrin now making their rotate in. Yeah, they just got absolutely demolished in that fight. It was very unfortunate because it was great to see the setup to it, right? We were talking about it, utilizing these tools to try and take roof access, and they were checking everything off getting in there, but ultimately, when it came to executing, that's where things fell apart, unfortunately. Team Tyson, though, looks like they are contesting a squad down here. They do have Oxy Aries up front once again. He needs the backup of his squad. Things haven't been so great for Oxy Aries tonight, as he's been running up against just a lot of teams just team firing him down. So he is waiting, playing this one a little bit more patiently, Tom.
Yeah, it's a good game for him so far, though, right? He's got the 3 kills. Doesn't have the most damage in the world, but I kind of want to break down that play again that we saw and just talk about, when we talk about competitive Apex, how important nades are, but it makes it so difficult because you need ammo for the long term. You need syringes. You need so much, and if you don't have a strong backpack, big burst damage right there, but one thermite could have really changed everything, because if Borton tosses a thermite down, it's going to take down the door. It's going to do a lot of damage. It's going to slow the players down, but it provides that visual clutter that they need, and now Oxy Aries is doing a great job of doing the entry frag damage that he needs to do on this Valkyrie. Now, the way that you get into these doors here is going to be on the back of Joey. They need Joey to come in and enter with the bubble, but they're also locking down the other door, and that's where he's calling out to Z Davis, hey guys, I feel like we have a weakness in this team in front of us that we can exploit. They're not really checking all of their angles. There's another 100 damage, only traded out for 50. But because Joey's not in the vicinity, there's no reason to even continue to push this fight, and Fearless is just going in. Nice job hitting the PK shots there, and it looks like they do have an opportunity, if you leave no witnesses, to win this fight, but until Mooney pops that bubble, or that battery, excuse me, then that's pretty much over. So nice job by them, and Leave No Witnesses are going to be taken out after winning their fight against Vizio, but that is twice now Intel has been in a great position.
Yeah, so that's going to be 6 points for Team Intel here. Team Tyson slowly picking them apart. Oxy Aries now with the backup of his squad. Z Davis is taking a lot of damage. This bubble fight not going their way, unfortunately. They do trade back, though.
This is Razor.
Z Davis getting thirsted here, and now they've got to be careful. Razor ends up taking out and finishing off Z Davis. That's going to be Joey Blackout going down. Oxy Aries takes out Boxa T, but he still needs to heal up. One last bat remaining for him as he's trying his best to dance around this fight, survive for as long as possible, but he will fall. That is Team Razor. Surviving the storm. Nades was left on about 60 HP there, and he will get his squad mates back up.
Surprisingly, that's his original gray armor, because you could see how much Evo was in there, but oh no, this is so unlucky for Razor. I was going to say, what a great turn of events for them to win a team fight against a team like Tyson, but now all of a sudden, Nerf just collapsed on this, and now Razor is going to have a hard time trying to get the res back through. It's most likely going to be a 3-on-1 or a 3-on-2 situation. You can see one player is already down. The healing needs to come in on the stairs. Gibby's running for his life. That's Nades being thirsted with the up-close charge rifle shots, but man, Razor just really can't catch any breaks, can they?
No, not at all. I mean, there might have been an opportunity to try and reset faster, maybe get the armor swaps out there, you know, to really be able to cover those re-knocks, but you saw Nerf were able to capitalize extremely well. One thing you have to note, that Razor, or one of the squads I believe were able to ping out, I don't think it was Razor though, that knew that there was a team up top on the hill. There it is, Razor getting finished off by Team Nerf. And so the third party was, the information of the third party was privy to one team, and now Team Intel coming in for the fourth party here. So let's go ahead and get right back into the action. James Fearless with the grav lift. But it looks like Team Nerf just absolutely got out of there. They are not going to fall prey to the same trap that happened here.
You know, because we're staggered, I was looking in terms of what the stream was doing, and I was trying to break down, hey, what could they have done differently? And realistically, that bubble came in a little bit late. So I don't, if the bubble was on respawn, that's completely acceptable. But that could have been an opportunity to, hey, you got to understand that a third party could potentially come in, toss that bubble down, get that fast healing. The bubble came down once they already had that first knock. So that could have been a small little play that Razor could have potentially made. We don't know exactly if that bubble was on respawn, but the way that they were knocked for that long, remember, it was the Valkyrie that was getting the reses. So you would think that the bubble should have been up for them. So a little bit of a missed opportunity, but also unlucky for Team Razor. Meanwhile, Excedrin is Kimchi Lee in this bow, man.
We just watched
going together like
30
peanut butter
seconds.
and jelly.
I like the Bocek bow, and he has it absolutely kitted out, but it looks like he is disgusted by it. We'll go ahead and completely drop that one and try to find something else to swap off onto. The Sentinel with no ammo. I don't know if that's it. There we go. The Kraber comes in hand for Kimchi Lee. They do have
Much more
triple
fun.
purples, and that should help them work towards the reds. Team Intel spotted them out, going to chase after them. It looks like some distance was made. Missile Storm to try and keep them contained here as Fearless drops down onto
Nice
him.
shots.
We'll get the knock onto Urban, and this pressure coming out from Team Intel, absolutely unrelenting. They will secure this thirst and continue to charge forward. Mooney taking the time to heal up. Team Frenzy might be getting involved into this. The fight is just off to their left, but I see already regretting that one. It's very unfortunate. Team Frenzy, I don't know where they came out of, but whites along with that one blue armor is not what you're looking
like
for.
no
They're
ammo.
the team that's actually running the Newcastle for this game, but this is looking dire for them.
This is tough. I don't know. Like you said, I don't know where they landed because you're going up against double reds and a purple armor. That's just not going to be the vibe as Team Frenzy gets eliminated. Impulse, now you're a kill leader, but I just love watching Team Intel play. And Fearless with those shots, the flatline was just dominant in that situation. But I've always been a huge fan of immediately thirsting players. It's all situational, but I think that's one of the main mistakes that newer players. Oh, big 210 headshot there coming in for Kimchi Lee. Oh, back-to-back headshots. That's why he put the bow check down and a little bit of salt in the wounds there. Excedrin going big. Kimchi Lee going absolutely monster huge there with the Kraber.
Yeah, now we'll see. Can he recover Urban's banner? I don't think so. It's way too far away. Will he have an opportunity to try and get the res? Yeah, honestly, at this point, getting that 1v2 with that Kraber double dome in play, securing 2 kill points, securing even more placement points for his squad. Absolutely clutch play to keep Excedrin in this game. We're now down to 9 squads, but take a look at how many damage squads there are. We know that there's one rat, that's Kimchi Lee, running around. Multiple other squads are still surviving with their last remaining player here. Oxygen, though, they've got their game plan. Play center zone. They've even been able to pick up an early kill point for themselves. Kimchi Lee gets the mobile respawn beacon down, and he gets the plug-in to bring Cruisin back on in. And that's going to be someone Sinus's death boxes that he'll be able to loot off of. So this is going to be beautiful for him to get back in. It's going to be a 2-man team trying their best to survive, and definitely the odds are in their favor now. Kimchi Lee will get another one. Oh, 140. How was that not a headshot?
Yeah, he got robbed, honestly. But Cruisin's going to be back in this one because the mobile respawn beacon that you're talking about, he's going to be able to have nice boxes to loot, which you also mentioned. But I love the way that we're seeing Kubsky rock the R301 Mozam again. Like, dude, come on, Kubsky. You think you're going to get that every single game? Once he wins that, he's never going to let that combo go past him. I'm a big fan of both of those weapons. I think that with the hammer points still being in play, you can see how useful it is. It's one of the only shotguns that you can, continually get that rate of fire into, so it's got a great TTK, but we'll see if they're going to be able to get back-to-back wins here. Phenomenal game number 4 if you guys missed that one, but we're in game number 5 now, and it's been the Kimchi highlight reel with the Kraber. I want to see that man pop off in the final moments of this one. I hope that they get to the final circle so we can see more of what we saw previously. Holy nades, look out, Lane.
Oh, Lane does back away, and he's got Miles to cover him. Got that Spitfire out, just shooting into that funnel. So Good coverage out from Valkyr, keeping them alive. It looks like a little bit of this is in, and so they can try and play off this, but they are getting flanked by another squad behind them. Right now, they're going to go ahead and try and full push onto them. The Valk is out, and now they're pushing onto the Gibraltar. That's going to be Blue Dawn going down. Lane picking that one up. Miles is cracked, but they need to buy time to heal up. Oxygen, we can try and come in, possibly get the third party here. They do have angles. They've got to be careful. Another team coming up behind them, and you can see Protectful, head on a swivel, instantly responds to that one. They're going to hold down here in the center of the zone. 9 squads still alive, still down to 21 players here, as they are doing such an excellent job is Team Oxygen. Just keeping eyes on every angle.
You know, I think Protectful using his scout in this situation is really, really smart. Great missile swarm there, amazing grenade. But while it seems like 200 light bullets are a lot, it's really not that much, considering the fact that that's going to be your main gun throughout all of this once the zone closes. So when the zone's a little bit more open and you have these angles to cover, I think that the scout is definitely the right choice. So it's a really smart move by Protectful and the Oxygen squad. They're going to hit some batteries, try to heal up. They have that pylon that Kubsky put down for a little bit extra support. Now Spitfire in hands of Pop Roxanne, which is going to be really great on Gibraltar because of the fact that you need to scope in with this thing for the majority of times. And it's going to give you that extra arm shield that you need. But there goes the pylon. That's not good. There goes the missile swarms in at the perfect timing, too. Sam's going to hold on to his bubble, though, for the very last second. It seems like they're going to be safe for now. Intel is on the prowl over here. We've seen Fearless popping off so far. He actually drops his flatline that he's been using, and he's going to elect to go with the car PK. A couple players coming in from behind. I'm not quite sure what these guys are doing so late into the zone, but hello, meet Team Intel. 2 teams taken out in zone number 5 as that one closes.
Yeah, Fearless just absolutely obliterated that Seer, as he's got Forsey right in front of him now. He's got to be careful. Nerf, I don't think they're aware quite yet. They do turn around just in time. He's got the backup of Impulse here. Got to back away. Arcstar's in. He's almost cracked. Slides down to rejoin with his squad. We're down to 4 squads. The end game. Miles does get finished off, unfortunately for Team Valk. Now Team Nerf, they are forced to rotate into Intel. Probably one of the closest teams to that ring right now. I believe Oxygen are not in this ring as well. You can see after that turnaround from Team Intel, Nerf are playing cautiously around this. They're keeping an eye on them for now. Another player ends up going down. 4 squads remaining, 10 players left, so possibly 1 rat here. But it's the 3v3. Nerf versus Intel. Turns getting some decent damage off. Be forced back from that Arcstar.
Good pylon.
We'll be able to slow heal this one up.
I like that pylon. That's going to stop the grenades from coming through. And it's perfectly placed, so the enemy team can't shoot that one. It's angled on the rock, too, so they really don't even have an idea that it's over there until they do use a couple of grenades, and those get gobbled up. But the high ground angle on top of this is very big. We know that they have to move here very shortly. They're going to end up using the mobile respawn beacon for a little extra cover if they want to go and take some off angles. Meanwhile, you can see inside of the zone, that's Kubsky. He's the one player who's already laying down fences so no one can kind of redeploy into their backhand area, which you want to keep all the action directly in front of you. So solid plays from all of our teams. Intel, they are inside of the zone over here, so we'll find out what happens for the squads that aren't, because right now you can see Nerf's going to have to make some real estate up, right? They do have a great position, but eventually they're going to have to make a move.
Yeah, Mooney's doing a great job. He's just keeping that north, that eastern side kind of clear. He's trying to force them to go and meet in the center. You can see that he is basically just a one-man army. Oh boy, he is forced to bubble early on. That is signs of weakness. Either side might try and push in, but again, we are left in this 3-team situation. It's Auction, it's Intel, it's Team Nerf right now, and they have done the job. Mooney has done enough. He's forcing Oxygen to try and move in onto Nerf right now, but Fearless is caught out by himself. He does have to be careful, forcing out a bubble now. He does have the back of the Impulse to just try and cover his angles, but the nades are coming in right on top of Team Intel.
Wow.
They're going to eat some missile swarm damage. Still staying alive. Mooney getting focused down, though, and he only has slow meds left. Turns. Team Nerf fully pushing onto them. This has been pure positional battle coming out from both all 3 of our squads now.
Yeah.
Team Intel now down to 2. As Fearless tries to back away, you can see Oxygen realizing one person has been finished off. They want to try and take out the battered team to their south. And now Team Nerf able to get that thirst onto Mooney here. They're getting pushed by Oxygen.
Such great plays from everybody. Even Intel, even though they were taken out, I feel like they were making the right plays, hopefully doing enough damage to force these players in. But sometimes someone just makes a little bit better of a play. And it was Nerf kind of playing patient, waiting for them to filter and get their opportunities in. But this is far from over, Jaberson. You still have 2 players of Team Intel up, and they're looking pretty healthy over here. So the storm has been weathered just a little bit, and now they are going to try to make a play in, coming in from behind. This is going to be really great for Nerf because that's letting a lot of damage onto Oxygen over towards the side. You can see Kubsky, he's going to have to force the bubble for Pop Rock Sam, which means that they're going to battery inside, maybe be able to hit the med kit and get that full heal off, which is right when the bubble is going to go away. And now that's going to allow also Intel to come in from behind. So this is a crazy turn of events for Team Intel. However, a lot of damage comes in for Protectful. Great scout shots coming from the hip fire too. But you just have a feeling Fearless is going to love what he's seeing right here and coming in and playing cleanup.
Yeah, it's going to be a 2v2 now. Promos gets finished off. Impulse coming in. It's a 2v1, and Team Intel backs against the ropes, but they survive here with the missile swarm. Impulse just jumping right on top of things. Team Nerf has been eliminated. Now, James Fearless should have one more armor swap. No! Unfortunately, he gets stuck inside.
Is it Kubsky again?
Finish animation. It is Kubsky.
Can he do it
again? Doesn't have any HP though. He's basically one shot to this PK, and now Impulse wants to try and finish him off. Kubsky gets the med kit off though, making this one a little bit easier. You can see now both sides really trying to top off. Impulse hitting the syringe. Kubsky going for that peek. He does have slow heals. Hasn't taken the opportunity to use it yet. Gets cracked now. He's going to try and hit the cells here, but Impulse is right on top of him. The 1v1 once again. He just needs to hit him one more time. That's all it's going to take. Kubsky tries to buy time, but it's not going to be enough. Team Intel finally secure a win today, but what a way to do it as well. Weathering the storm as a 2-man, losing out on Mooney, but fighting back and waiting it out, and also picking up a lot of kill points along the way.
What a performance from our final 3 teams in the circle. You really couldn't ask for a more entertaining endgame like that, and you almost thought Kubsky was going to be able to do it again. You know, if he didn't have the flat line, if he had that 301 that he had in the previous game, I got your back, Kubsky. You would have had that one.
Yeah, what an amazing finish, but also another top finish for Oxygen, who in this second half really did rally back. A 17-point game. This is also a +9 with however many kills they got there. What an amazing display. We had a lot of action here in game number 5. Valk finally getting basically a clean fight down here in Cenote Cave, I believe. And you can see Saz was having a little difficulty dealing with that caustic barrel, but eventually they're able to finish off this last caustic player.
Didn't get the memo that you can get rid of the barrels, apparently, because that would have been something that was in play. But wow, what a job from Team Intel. They won this fight here against LNW, which wasn't easy to do because that was our team that dropped Vizio a little bit early on. This was the fight that I believe Tyson ends up losing to Team Razor, and then Razor ends up getting third party by Nerf after this. But so the bubble did come down right there. It could have ended up being on respawn overall, but man, just what a great job by Team Intel as a duo, really. And again, shout out to all 3 of our teams right there. 2 of them partnered, 1 of them Oxygen Gaming. And again, the way that they were able to play that from Intel's side, playing aggressive, forcing players into one another, Nerf playing a very methodical game. All of a sudden, Oxygen decides that they want to go and send it on over towards the corner. It's almost like they thought that they could win that fight fast enough and then get the cleanup. Protectful did a lot of damage with the scout right there, but it's never easy to win a 2-on-3-on-3, and you got to give Intel a lot of props because that's just what they're good at. They're great at team fighting, and being able to pick up those extra points is huge, not just for today's leaderboard and for the cash, but the accumulative leaderboard, because you know they're going for that first place spot.
Yeah, and we absolutely love seeing late games like that where it plays out almost like, well, a 3-team chess match, right? I don't know if I've ever seen a 3-player chessboard before, but it was something similar along those lines. It was all about positioning, feinting here, trying to force teams into each other. It was absolutely beautiful to watch. And with so much action to break down, I'm glad that we have Yeso back in the studio to try and cover all of that. So Yeso, go ahead and take it away.
There is a lot to talk about there, and Intel got the gift of the third party, right? Oxygen deciding to send it there on Nerf, and I agree with T-Squared. I think they probably just thought they could quickly take that fight over and be ready for the coming third party from Intel, but unfortunately it doesn't quite shake out that way, and Nerf fights back well, and ultimately Intel coming in at the perfect time. They're able to kind of clean up all of the chaos, and Kubsky, hoping to clutch it out, wasn't able to do so, and Impulse takes care of business. Of course, a little unfortunate. James Fearless there looking for the armor swap, instead accidentally activates the execute and gets beamed by Kubsky and down, but Impulse able to take care of business and finish it off and grab the win. So well played from Intel. Let's look at their performance here from game number 5, because of course they have been looking solid honestly throughout the day and finally able to get to the finish line here in game 5, and they do it in pretty impressive fashion. 15 kills to their name. Impulse leads the way in the damage department, also had 6 assists to his name with those 7 kills, so the squad looking really strong all across the board in this one, and this is an Intel squad that is really starting to ramp up. If you watched the show last Wednesday, Zephyr was talking about how James Fearless has said the team really hadn't had a ton of opportunities to practice coming into the season and through the first couple of weeks. And that lack of practice had really set them behind the 8 ball, but it seems like finally Intel, with the server issue solved, really starting to get some practice under their belt. They looked really good last Wednesday. Tonight, they're looking solid as well, and they're looking to challenge for the top of that leaderboard, and that game is certainly going to help them out. Now, a lot of things to talk about for Intel, but let's look at our Mobile One high-performance moment, and this one of a different squad here. Let's take a look at Excedrin, and it's Kimchi all by his lonesome, but he's got the Kraber, and he's not missing on these headshots. That first one, a little bit of a gift, but that little quick scope on the second one, so clean here from Kimchi. Couldn't not have this as the high performance moment, because this is, I would say, the definition of high performance here from Kimchi. Wow, just the back-to-back headshots there with the Kraber. So clean. We'll get one last look at it here. Easy pickup as the player goes for the death box, but this one, the second one, just nice, bam, right over the top of that arm shield there from the Gibraltar, and Kimchi really clean there. You love to see it. Well played from him. Well played for Intel, grabbing the win there in game number 5. We have one left on the day. We'll decide who our winner is and more when we come back.
All right, welcome back to Series E. Team Incel getting a much-needed and well-deserved victory there in game number 5. Was that enough to really propel them up and put them within reach of the top of the leaderboard? Let's check in with the Mobile One leaderboard to see where they stand after that performance. And now they are tied with someone, Sinus, at 57 points. I believe, though, someone Sinus might have the point lead in the tiebreaker, so this is going to be an incredibly close finish, especially now. Oxygen, 2 back-to-back great games in a row, 55 points for them, places them in third. So I love this, that this isn't just a 2-horse race for the finish, but even going all the way down to Team 7, Nerf, with 46 points, only 11 points off. So this is really anyone's game within the top 7.
I was waiting for someone to sprinkle some hot sauce onto this leaderboard. Thank God. It makes things really interesting going into the final game here. And like Jamerson is saying, there is a tiebreaker that happens. If you guys are unfamiliar with the tiebreaker, it's the best game overall in terms of points. And someone sign us had a phenomenal game 3, I believe it was, where they put up around 30 points. So they definitely have the tiebreaker over Team Intel. We'll have to get confirmation from our admins when it's all said and done, but I don't think that that's going to be our final tallies going into the final game. Someone on this leaderboard is going to end up taking first place, and I don't know if it's going to be Intel, someone sign us, or like you said, all the way down to Nerf. Now, realistically, Team Tyson, while they have played amazing today, they would have to win the game and then assume that all the top 7 teams don't get any points. I don't think that's going to happen, but you know, there is a big race that's going on in terms of our cumulative leaderboard too. So keep in mind that even though there is a first place and some money up for grabs today, that it's all about securing your spot into the next season too. So there shouldn't be any room for having negative self-talk. If you're, for example, Team Razor, who's sitting in 14th place, Razor has an opportunity here to hopefully get some extra points, because it has been a pretty slow day overall in terms of our partner squads. You can see Vizio's sitting at 24 points. Maybe they can catch up and just have some sort of confidence booster, right? Because if you don't get last place overall today in terms of our partner teams, that's a good start. You just got to keep building on these blocks here and hopefully learning over and over again. I think they've had a better performance in Stormpoint than they have in World's Edge.
Here we go, joining them on board with Team Intel. They have been getting challenged 50-50 down here at Barometer, and it looks like is going to remain to be true. Another team still kind of parallel to them on this drop, and Team Intel are going to welcome that. They've been able to win the 50-50 twice in a row, but that team did actually pull away in the last second. Spectre Esports, though, versus Leave No Witnesses once again down here at Fish Farms. We'll see how quickly Vizio ends up showing up for this one, because they've done it 2 games in a row now.
They really have, and the Sentinel, it's pretty, annoying to get without a scope, but they're making it work right now. And Brandon's been very impressive today. We saw some great plays, specifically in World's Edge. They haven't been able to really get, oh man, another great shot. Again, this is not easy to do. Brandon's making it look easy right now.
And we get a look at our ring for our final game of the day. Antenna, a little bit of Gale Station in, and the north edge of Shipfall is in. So these 3 POIs probably kind of converge for that ring to pull basically smack dab in the middle of all of them. But this is definitely one of those rings that if you can hold on to a beacon, you try to get that beacon scan in round number 2 to have a much better idea of where this one could possibly pull. Oh, it looks like finally teams are pulling the trigger. Spectre Esports is pushing their way on in to Leave No Witnesses, but oh my goodness! As he tries to take to the sky, Brandon gets absolutely demolished here, and now Spectre Esports are left in a 1v3 noodle. Gonna be a wet noodle there getting cleaned up. Team Intel, though, with this fight up against R3G, James Fearless, hits him with that sidekick to take him out. Team Intel now, our lobby leaders and overall leaders with the +3 there.
Wow, Borton with the shots, man. The 30-30 without a scope, too. 2 tough guns. We saw the Sentinel being used without a scope. Now the 30-30 being utilized. Gotta give credit to our players today for putting on one heck of a performance individually and as teams. One of those teams has been Team Valk, who's played spoiler to teams like Team Intel, who's now sitting in first place in that leaderboard. GAD, they're going to get eliminated. That's going to be Z Davis and their squad. Looking really strong for Team Tyson. A little bit of a screen lag here. We'll get this one back underway here hopefully shortly. There it is. It was just Miles and his Spitfire freezing the entire lobby, basically. Toxic Spitfire players.
Yeah. Ooh, nice information coming out from Lane there. Even though he's basically out of this fight, there we go. They get the knock, and They only have one player left remaining on this squad, which they'll be able to finish off. That's Undialed going down. We're already down to 13 squads here.
Turn up,
has
baby.
not slowed down. It looks like there might have been a possible third-party attempt from the team coming out from the mill side. I believe the Valk is safe. They're going to be able to completely stabilize for themselves here. And then get ready for this ring pull down towards that antenna side. They could also, of course, take their time over here to craft things up. And I think that's what they're doing now.
You know what, Jamerson? These guys are ready to end this, basically, and get into rank. It's the new split, man. They're like, you know what? It's time to grind. We need our RP. We know that there's 10 points less entry fee. Let's get it going, and let's find out who's walking away with this cash prize that Series E offers every single Tuesday and Wednesday here for Apex Legends. Hopefully you guys enjoy the action. We also have Halo that takes place on Mondays and Fridays. So if you're a Halo fan, shout out to all of our people that watch Series E no matter what the game is. But definitely looking forward to our pro night tomorrow, Jamerson. Like we were talking about, the championships are coming up next week. So all of our teams getting in that final little extra bit of practice. Now, wasn't there a lobby issue for quite some time? And I think it finally ended up getting fixed.
Was there a lobby
right?
issue? That never happens in Apex. I don't know what you're talking about. It was terrible. It was the worst thing in the world. It persisted for about a month and a half, and I hated it. I hated everything about it. Here's Start a Fight, though. They had a great start to the day, but have since slowed down in the last 3 games. Hopefully they can try and turn things around here in game number 6 to really finish off with the momentum that they started with. Razor making the rotation down towards Gale Station. It looks like they'll be safe here in this building at the very least, if this is where they want to set up. Boxa T is on that Watson, but he's going to have his work cut out for him. A lot of angles he needs to cover with these fences.
Razor looks like they are interested in taking the oxygen approach, which I am completely down for, because it's going to allow them to pick up some extra placement points. Now, the problem is with 13 squads, you got it, there you go. The problem is with so many squads getting eliminated, you're not going to pick up many kill points, but just getting any type of placements, getting on the board, getting a feel for the new storm point zones and execution of how to play the final circles is really, really big. But we're on board with Start a Fight, who was really high on the leaderboard in the first couple games. 39 points up at the first 2 games. They won game number 1. They were looking strong in game number 2. D-Rez is busting out the crypto. I'm excited to see how this works out for Micro Knights.
Yep, he is going to go ahead and take to that drone to try and maybe give chase, but no, they're going to go ahead and use that Valkyrie redeploy. I want to see if this one's going to be aggressive, and this quite possibly could be. They are having their sights straight on Cenote Cave, so they will go ahead and chase after them. For Team Razor, though, back down here towards Gale Station, it's all about keeping eyes on the teams around them. It does look like there's a team across the ways. A lot of teams really favoring this south side for this ring pull, which I think historically that is how that ring ends up pulling down. Like you saw, Start a Fight, they ended up taking the small loot compound. They only leave themselves vulnerable to an out-of-bounds play on the mountain, but of course, because they have that Watson, they're going to be safe from throwables coming down on top of them. Here's Team Valk, though, still sticking around here on the southwest side, patrolling around. I'm wondering if they're just crafting left and right.
Crafting, getting ready for the long haul. The thing is when you're in a situation when you're low on batteries, the crafting and the replicator is your best friend here. So they have 3 batteries. They're just feeling good about that situation. Fearless setting up an ambush. Holy shots right there. Just completely bursted. D-Rez did not stand a chance, and it's just over for them. They're out of here, Jamerson. Rest in peace.
My big question is, was this the team that D-Rez were chasing after? Remember, they Valk ulted into Cenote here after a team, and if it was Team Intel, well, they have best learned their lesson from that. But man, what a beautiful lurk play coming out from them. That's going to be 6 points now that our team that's tied for first place currently have, and so this is just working out wonderfully. Team Intel really bouncing back after a really rough start at the beginning of the day, and so far now it looks like, you know, they might just be a Storm Point team.
Knowing Fearless, we're going to have that 30-second Apex rule where you're allowed to kind of say anything after you take someone down, because if people chase you like that and then you just completely punish them, you can rub it in just a little bit. And I think that they did that with their gameplay.
Oh, no.
Terrence.
It's okay. It's okay. He's got the gravity lift. He can rejoin them eventually.
He did it on purpose. He just wanted to check out the bottom of the map for him.
True. They're going to go ahead and pick up this scan, the round 2 scan, and a lot of teams are looking for, just to get that confirmation about where this one ends up pulling away. There's a very small likelihood this one goes towards Antenna. Most people are expecting that south side ship fall, and that's exactly why it's going towards Gale Station. And so, yeah, start a fight along with Razor. Everyone calling it there early on.
You can see so many teams are just layered on top of one another over here. Taking a look at that southern side, that southwest area, you could see that's where Oxygen is coming from eventually, but I'm more looking at Nerf being chased down by Team Intel right now, because Nerf's probably going to have their eyes set on a lot of the teams that are in front of them, and then Intel is going to be able to come in, swoop behind them for a potential third party, and it looks like they're staggered enough to, yeah, they're on the hunt. Fearless, the way that he's moving, Jamerson, you could tell that he knows that there's a team in front of him.
Yeah. What I'm wondering, though, is does Team Intel maybe want to slow things down? They're tied for first right now. They've got 6 kill points. Really, all they need is just placement points to secure their spot, secure the $350 bonus for themselves. Fearless, though, doing a great job of playing this one cautiously. They are not going to throw caution to the wind here, as Excedrin are making their way through Antenna. They do spot out a squad. Now, that round up the hill, looks like they'll be able to get safely up. Almost getting the crack. Cruising with that charge rifle. They're running straight in to start a fight, I believe. Cruising. Not going to chase after that one. Excedrin are just going to hold their position here inside of Antenna.
Nice shots there from all the players on Team Excedrin. Here comes the Joey Blackout defensive bombardment. Bubble has been used already. You can see a couple knocks have come through. That's going to be the defensive bombardment knock onto Sushi. That's FRC, another talented opening team being taken down. Turns was taken down by Urban from behind too, so that's going to be Nerf. 2 players already being thirsted. Intel, we know that they were hunting them down. Fearless has to stay alive. The battery's going to come through. Remember, there were teams that were behind Intel as well. Oxygen is one of them. We'll see if they're going to completely back off from this one. Like you said, Jamerson, they are in the running, tied for first place right now. So playing this one, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Ping is going on back on over towards the building. Too much action, a little bit too hot. Let's slow it down. Let's reset. We still have our redeploy if we want it and hit that skyward dive. So there's no reason to get a little too over aggressive here. So I like this play from Intel.
Yeah, we're not in that range of placement points where you feel safe, right? You've got the +6, but you're not happy with the +1 from placement points. You need to get a little bit more than that. So Team Intel are going to slow things down. They are going to go ahead and back away. Excedrin, though, they know they need to make up for some lost time here. Cruising. Nerf eliminated. Now Excedrin picking that one up. Urban a little bit low on heals. He's going to have to heal up, but it looks like they've got the extra loot boxes to work off of here. They've even got possibly another team cresting that hill for now. They will go ahead and back away. Team Excedrin playing this one expertly. They do have that beacon and a world drop coming in. Let's go ahead and get another Kraber in the hands of Kimchi Lee.
Would love to see that. If you didn't see it before, he was the mobile high performance moment with the double headshots as the last guy alive, just completely taking faces. C. Davis is on the Seer now. He's switched on off of the Watson, which he's been rocking, which to me, Jamerson shows that they are trying to play a little bit more of an aggressive play style, and also an opportunity to try a couple of different things over here because they understood they needed a little bit more kills, and kills is what they have. You can see 3 kills, 3 assists from Joey. Great job again with that defensive bombardment that he previously used. 60% until that one's going to be back on up there. Nice scan coming in from Z Davis too. They have eyes on the players inside of the little bubble area. We're going to have to create a name for these little bubble buildings, Jamerson. What do you got? Got any ideas?
The shuttles? The
shuttles? You just calling them shuttles?
Ships? That's what I've been going with. It's the easiest one for me.
Dippin' Dots. We got the Dorito, we have the Dippin' Dot buildings.
True. Got to get the chicken nugget in there somehow.
Yeah, we'll fit in a chicken nugget somewhere.
Right now, though, Team Razor, they are not thinking about any food at all. They're just trying to get as many placement points as possible here, as Boxa T will go ahead and set up another fresh generator for them. Remember, the interception pylon does eventually run out of shield heals, and their Gibraltar is going to need it to top off for themselves. For Team Tyson, it looks like we're having some issues, unfortunately, and so are they, as they're pinned down right now. At least Joey Blackout is. Z Davis backing away, as that might have been Team Intel taking shots at them. They're going to have to be careful about trying to hold down this western edge. Even though we are down to half the lobby, there's still teams rotating in from the outside. So Team Tyson, leaving themselves kind of in the middle of nowhere, have to be careful with how they play this spot.
And if they are in the middle of nowhere, the key is to play around Joey, because you need to make sure that you have that bubble. Remember, that defensive environment still is on cooldown, so they can't necessarily go for that one. Nice little heat check going through the wall there to find out where those players are going to be located inside of the building. Excedrin now starting to rotate on the edge of the zone over here, and Kim Chile is peppering some shots down. R301 2X with the PK, definitely my go-to in terms of my favorite loadout. And he's got this thing completely decked out, almost a gold R301 minus the mag over here. So some really impressive loadouts. Let's see if Kim Chile can put it to full force. Kind of a slow game for Excedrin so far.
Yeah, they've only gotten the one team fight. We're able to finish off Team Nerf. It's about trying to hold position here. They will have access to a Valk rotate across that mountainside when this ring does probably ultimately pull directly in into Gale Station. So they've got a lot of angles to cover from this hilltop for the time being, but very valuable spot to play off of. You have the Valkyrie redeploy being used. Cruisin' not quite able to connect with that charge rifle. Does at least keep them at bay for now, regrouping just in case they get landed on, but it looks like that team will just fly right on past. Cruisin', you're getting shot at. You need to get back with your team. He will be able to pull back just in time. It looks like we got plenty of death boxes here to play off of as well if he needs to swap off from that charge rifle. He's extremely close. 130, 46 damage away now from getting that red Evo shield for himself. So the charge rifle has been fruitful for him.
One of the toughest guns to shoot in all of Apex history, the charge rifle. No, but that's what it's used for. It's getting that Evo shield charged up, and it's definitely a viable weapon, especially on Stormpoint. And typically you do see your Gibraltar carrying that one. Now Intel has made their rotation in. Remember, they were playing in slow and methodical back when there was 11 squads alive. But what happened to this lobby, Jamerson? I mean, seriously. It was like everyone wanted to fight, and then boom, they realized there was money on the line, and they started slowing it down.
Yeah, I mean, it was like you were cruising, you know, on the 5, you're going like 75 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden you get like close to Knott's Berry Farm, and you're like, boop, all right, we're hitting traffic, everything stops. But not right now. Urban getting the first knock onto Saws. Excedrin can absolutely push up on this, and
wow,
this is because of the timing. With a minute left before the zone closes, they need to take out the squad right now. Unfortunately, though, the third party off from the side is going to stop them. They're not even able to secure that third. Saws with that bubble res. Gets back up and is able to get out. Now Excedrin, really unfortunate. A little bit out of position here. 45 seconds left to go. They might have lost out on control of that hilltop. All of this, it looks like Oxy Aries, Tyson getting themselves into a fight. They've traded 1-for-1. Team Intel coming in now. James Fearless dropped down to 1 HP. Mooney healing up the outside with that bubble. And now Fearless gets the bat off at the very least. Impulse is by himself inside of the building for now. Fearless takes a lot of damage once again, but Impulse gets the knock. Team Razor losing out on one. There is the Thirst as well. They lost out on Boxa T, so only one player remaining. Vizio looking to come in for that third party. Team Intel still need to try and recover here and try and top themselves off. Borden giving away his position. Intel are aware that the third party is coming in now. Just gonna go ahead and back away. This should be the last member of Team Razor. Excedrin ends up getting cleaned up throughout all of this. So yeah, like you said, what happened to all the action? Well, it finally comes to the forefront with round 4 closing in. Team Vizio back away from that third party. Regain position over here. Defensive bombardment. Sung right on top of them, backing away with that bubble going down. We do have that Seer ultimate being utilized as well as Sung wants to push in. It was a 3-man peek and Sung slides on by, and now he's right back into the thick of things, dishing out damage with that car. But again, take a look at these pushes coming out from Lane and his squad right now. Just full 3v1 challenging. It's been beautiful to see. Borden has nothing left to do here as he ends up falling. Vizio will go down. Oxygen now taking out Volts. Thief has gone down. That was the squad that ended up taking out Team Excedrin. And now Oxygen, they could smell it. The $350 bonus right ahead of them here, but they still have to contend with Team Intel, who comes in for the third party and cleans up Valk.
Now you start to worry with how many points that Intel has in the kill department. Can we talk about Team Valk hitting them with the Mighty Duck flying V right there? That was just beautifully executed. It's like Olympic synchronized swimming. I've never seen anything like it before. It was like Sung slides by, he has great moves, and then I don't know, it was like a dance battle, like an epic West Side Story dance battle with them just moving around like that. I was like straight Jabberwockies, man.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Everyone just kind of came in, hit the armchair, and then was like, yep, we're good, and finished them all off. But Oxygen now, they have a beautiful spot for this next zone. They've got the high ground angles. They are safe on this rock. All the teams ahead of them. Key trying his best to not make any noise as the only rat here. You can see Impulse is out there. We've got Team Intel. We got Startifight. We've got Oxygen. And I think right now at this point, with top 4, with the kill points that Team Intel have, they've basically secured their win.
Yeah, as long as Oxygen doesn't clean up every single team and Intel gets eliminated basically right now, I think Intel senses that, right? It's like sharks sensing blood in the water. They are continuing to add pressure, figuring out how they can maximize their damage in this game overall. But what a methodical game from them. They started off picking up a ton of points. They backed down at that perfect moment. We had a chance to see the mini-map and find out where teams were coming in behind them as they were hunting down Team Nerf up that hill. And it's like they can sense where the rest of these teams are. And it's very nicely done from our Intel squad, trying to, like you said, Jamerson, walk away with that money. More importantly right now, they're trying to win this game and make sure that Oxygen does not get any type of kill points on the board so they can secure this one. And Oxygen is completely away from where all the action is too. So they're looking like they may be playing for second right now.
I also like the presence of mind coming out from our players. They know that there is a rat. They can see that there's still 10 players remaining. Once it's below 10 is where you left with that question mark. So they know there is a rat somewhere. They're checking all the rat spots. You saw someone just spamming some shots at these rat spots. So it's great to see, once again, our teams, you know, they're learning. You can see the missile storm also going in right there at that rat spot to double check to make sure that there's no one there. They are not leaving anything to chance at this point. They don't want any kind of third-party interference. Team Intel making their way slowly across and in. You can see Oxygen setting up for themselves. A great placement there for Kupski with that interception pylon to try and stop any kind of throwables coming in on them. Oxygen, can they do it? Can they get a second win on the day?
They're in a pretty decent position, right? I mean, especially with Kupski putting down the pylons and the fences there, where they are basically in the middle of the zone right here. Now, the reason that they're in also such a great advantage is because of the fact that all the teams are staggered on top of one another, right? The only team that can really put a big amount of pressure on them would be start a fight, but with the use of the blue boxes right here, they're in a great spot. Now, Kupski can't really put his pylon down because he's got one down already, right? And it's in the perfect spot where the zone's going to end. So if they want to do anything, they'd have to slide up. And he's going to elect to actually, no, with the bubble going down, he could save the pylon. I like the play. I'd rather use the bubble than the pylon because the pylon's already been down. So bubble, move up, then you can go and use that pylon, which is already down. And it's way safer to play the fence line here. Now they're getting pressure on over towards the side. What an aggressive play from Team Intel. They're not having this. They're not letting Oxygen stay alive.
Yeah, start a fight, ready to try and take advantage of this one. You can see Aves is up top. He gets the knock onto Pop Rock Sam. They're just trading away kills here. Has to be careful, though. Somehow they get a beautiful singularity right on top of him, but he is going to be safe. He spots out Mooney in the skies. Team start a fight, got the first win of the day, and they'll finish off the evening with the win as well. but did they get enough points to put a stop to Team Intel? That is the big question we're left with.
Not only that, but who's walking away with second place? Because I really feel like with the amount of kill points that Intel got, that they had that one on lock, and everyone else was kind of filtering in to see who was going to be playing for second. So that win right there, like you said, starting off the day with a win, finishing it off with it. What an aggressive play from Intel. They sensed a little bit of weakness on the side of the fence, and an awkward situation to be in right there for Kupski, with them having a lot of pressure happening over towards the side. You have the bubble coming down. Once the bubble goes down, a team like Intel is going to recognize that and immediately start collapsing, because that's just the slightest advantage that they need. As we take a look at some of these replays, just amazing plays again. A lot of great plays from our open teams. Yes, Intel is most likely going to be walking away with first place, and it's going to be one of our partners' squads getting first, but I wasn't expecting this type of caliber from our open teams, especially on a day when we have the new rank split. So shout out to all our players for their participation today, because it was definitely one of our best open days.
And again, it was just another really nice late game to watch. You know, even though it ended up coming down to Oxygen and Intel just taking that early fight and then start a fight able to take advantage, we got the lead up to that. We saw the mindset, the kind of preparation that Oxygen were going through. You know, we've got this pylon down. I've popped my ultimate Excel, got another pylon ready just in case. It was, once again, like watching another chess match at the end there. It was all about posturing, positioning, trying to outthink your opponents, and it was just a great thing to see. Ultimately, though, a lot of it came down to brute force of Team Intel getting a lot of points in this game that should have been enough for them to really secure that spot for them. They were tied for first place before all of this happened here in game number 6, and they had a fairly comfortable lead, I think, up against a lot of the other squads, but it was still extremely close.
I loved the way that everybody played today. Really, I mean, it was tough for some of the teams that you could sense were newer to Series E, but we saw a lot of rising stars kind of coming in, and potential teams that, like, someone sign us. You know, will they be signed? Will they take over a spot like Razor? You know, I don't want to throw Razor under the bus. I'm hoping that they come back, but they are sitting in last place right now, so they're going to need to respond. I think that we saw a lot of fight from them on Storm Point. They need to work through World's Edge a little bit, but a lot of talented open teams are coming through and looking really hungry in Series E, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, we still have a lot of time here in Season 5 of Series E. I think we still have about like 2.5 months left in regulation play, so there's still a lot of room for growth and time to make your adjustments across these maps. So really hoping for the best for all of our squads, not just our partner squads, but also, of course, our open squads that come in with really nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I'm glad to see the kind of growth we're getting overall. That's going to go ahead and do it for us. We're going to send it over to Yeso to go ahead and break down all of today's actions and, of course, announce the winners for today. So Yeso, go ahead and close out the show, buddy.
Thank you, gents. It just, Series E feels right, having Jamerson and T-Squared on the cast. Of course, you know I'm a big fan of Zephyr, Dia, Vicky, Stella, all the other incredible talent we get to have in here. But there's just something about Jamerson and Tom putting their heads together for a cast here and bringing us all the fun that is just feels so right. So great to start off a couple of days here of Apex Legends with those two GOATs. So well done, you two. Ultimately, at the end of the night, we see SAF bookending the night with a couple of victories. Now, I don't know that it's going to be enough to grab them first place. The interesting thing was when you look at that mobile and leaderboard going into game number 6, you had 7 teams right there in the hunt. I think it was only 11 points separating first place from 7th. So that's a lot of squads, a lot of talent in the mix here at the end of the day. Ultimately, it's likely Intel, and we will get those final numbers here in a few minutes. But really, congrats and hats off to SAF. They've had a really good last couple of weeks. They finished strong here. Not their biggest game, of course, just 4 kills, but they took care of business in the late circle. They get the kills that mattered the most, and they put up, another 16 points here in their final game of the day, and that's certainly going to feel really, really good. So well played there from SAF. Aves leading the way, highest damage, highest kills for the team, and assist there is a little extra on top of that victory. So well played from the squad. And Rollers, two, I would say, not my surprise, and should be nobody's surprise, jumping in here for Rack and Ishu, fitting right in with the squad, and they performed really, really damn well, and I'm curious to see where they shake out in the end on that leaderboard. But let's take a look at our final Mobile One high performance moment here of the night before we hit that scoreboard, and it's Aves up here on the high ground once again. Shades of what we saw in the end of game one, right? Being able to get up on top of the building, having that nice view of multiple squads while Intel and Oxygen are duking it out. SAF just dealing damage from safer positions, and it's a big reason why they grabbed the win here. And Aves just not missing there from on top of this container, and Matt Pickett and Rollers there for the assist, and this is really how they pick up basically all of their kills there. I'm actually curious who gets the credit for all these Aves grabs. One there. Protectful gets the knock onto Fearless. There's a second for Aves. Looks like they get maybe 3 of their 4 kills just in that last fight. So those extra few points, and we'll see. Let's take a look at that Mobile One leaderboard. Just how much those points mattered here in the end, and so close. Of course, Intel, with that second place showing in the last game, they jump ahead of the pack here in the end. They finish incredibly strong with a win and a second place finish in the last 2 games. They finish at 80 points. Oxygen, with that final little bit of KP they grab in that late fight, do just enough to hold off SAF. So that one, that's certainly going to sting a little bit for start a fight, because they were right in it and they grabbed the win, but they fall just short here by a point to Oxygen. But that's still a great way to close out the day, and you can still look at that top 7. Now, Nerf having a bit of a rough finish there, and Excedrin not doing a whole lot in that final game does mean that they're a little further out of the conversation here, but still, Intel, Oxygen, SAF, all really good. You heard T-Squared hyping up someone sign us. They certainly deserve a lot of credit for the way that they played tonight, especially because really they felt like they were in the mix in about 4 to 5 out of all 6 games. They really had a hell of a showing tonight, and that is a squad to keep an eye on. If we continue to see them coming out on open nights, watch out for someone sign us, because they made a pretty good statement here tonight with that 4th place finish and the way that they played all throughout tonight's games. That's going to do it, though. Congratulations to Intel. Big win for the squad as they make it back-to-back nights. Wednesday night last week, and of course here tonight on another open night. So well played to them. Thank you to everybody who came out and watched. I hope you enjoyed the show. We certainly had a lot of fun. Great action, tons of awesome Apex, and it certainly continues to deliver here in season number 5. That is going to do it for us here tonight. We are back once again tomorrow with more Apex action, so don't miss out on that. We'll have some Guilty Gear Strive on Thursday. Plenty to cover there, of course, on the heels of an awesome CEO this past weekend. And remember, we wrap up the week with Halo Infinite on Friday night. So clear your schedule. Be here 4 p.m. Pacific time every single weeknight this week at twitch.tv/esports arena. My name is Jason. It's been a pleasure to host for you all tonight. For myself, the entire live broadcast crew, and everybody here at Esports Arena, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.